Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I'm excited to announce that I will be hosting a new interactive masterclass. The future of education is in crisis. This masterclass takes place this Friday, November 27th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please be sure to register here. Now, my mission is to transform education. And during this open house, you will learn about the problems with our current education system, as well as the constantly evolving solutions that are available, and what you can do right now to best prepare yourself for the future that you desire. Now, if you've ever heard me talk about the Haroun Education Ventures MBA degree program and wondered what it would be like to be one of my students, then I invite you to join me on Friday, November 27th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for this special live event interactive masterclass. Now, everybody attending will receive a free course of mine that I just released about finance and how to save a fortune. It's easy to do. Just for showing up, you're going to get some of my best stuff. Additionally, I will be giving away one scholarship for gold, one scholarship for platinum of my MBA degree program, and a one-on-one call with me, where I can help you with anything related to getting a job, starting a business, getting promoted, and a lot more. You will experience the learning, the interaction, and most importantly, the fun. I guarantee you that this signature talk will be edutaining, meaning educational and entertaining. None of your questions will go unanswered, and I promise you will walk away with plenty of practical value that you can put to use right away. Trust me, you don't want to miss this awesome event, and I can't wait to see you there. Thank you. Good morning, and welcome to our 114th weekly webcast. If this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way the call works is this is an AMA, meaning ask me anything. You can ask me business questions, career questions. You can ask me personal questions. You can ask me anything. And the call ends at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And what my staff does is within 24 hours of the call being completed, what they do is they update the description field of this YouTube video with a list of all the questions and the exact times they were asked, so you can get immediate access to the answers immediately. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this call. It's week 114. I'm trying something a little bit different today with the lighting. Please let me know. And also, I'd love to have you all join us on November 27th for an open house we have. It's called the Future of Education Masterclass. You're all going to get a brand new course, okay, I'm just in the process of publishing now. You've never seen it before. It's all new topics, new accounting, finance, etc., and more topics. You'll love it. So if you go to harounmba.com/masterclass, you can register for this event. Again, it takes place November 27th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And I'm going to be giving away a couple of scholarships as well, 100% scholarships to people that attend for my gold and my platinum MBA degree program. Now, if you're not familiar with my MBA degree programs, what you can do is you can go directly to my website or go to harounmba.com and just read about this here. So this here is the event, harounmba.com/masterclass. Okay, this is the event we're having on November 27th. So you can click here to reserve your spot. I'll teach you all about finance and accounting as well in a brand new way. Now, if you're interested in the Haroun MBA program, you can go to harounmba.com to learn more. And in this on this one page here, harounmba.com, you'll see sample lectures for 5 of the core sections of the curriculum as follows. Let me scroll down and show you this. Thank you. All right, getting there. Finance and accounting, and here's the first sample lecture here. Okay. There's also entrepreneurship. In addition, personal growth, as well as sales, marketing, and communications. And then lastly, economics management and strategy. And there's 2 different versions of the MBA degree program. You can register today if you want to at this website, harounmba.com. There's a platinum version, and there's also a gold version. And the gold version, and both these programs start on the 14th of December, and it lasts 1 year. And I have classes in 2 different time zones, and then I take endless Q&A. So the 2 time zones are as follows. Time zone 1 is Mondays and Tuesdays from 9 a.m. until noon my time, San Francisco time, plus endless hours of live Q&A. Time zone 2 is also Mondays and Tuesdays, but it's from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. San Francisco time, plus endless hours of Q&A if there's demand. I also have for MBA students only office hours every week, etc. And so the gold version is what I just explained. The platinum version is the same thing as gold, except you actually get a couple of hours, 3 hours of one-on-one time with me, either in person if you're in the Bay Area or online via Zoom. Now, there's a 100% money-back guarantee that lasts between, if you buy it today, all the way up until the 14th of January. That's the money-back guarantee. So the way it works is as follows. If you buy the program today and all the way up until the launch date, which is December 14th, you get your money back 100% up until 1 month after the program starts. So the program starts December 14th, which means you get 100% of your money back, no questions asked, up until January the 14th. So here's more details here on the MBA degree programs. If you have questions, please let me know, and thank you. All right, let's move on now to questions. Yeah, and let me know what you think of the new lighting. I'm trying something a little bit different here. I'm trying to push the goalpost out and have fun with this. All right, so first up we got Shubham, who's saying, hey Chris, hope you're doing well, likewise. And the question is, do you need to be fearless in order to start a company? Yeah, I think you have to not be afraid of failure. You know, no one that's ever made it big on this planet has done so without failing many times first. You know, Michael Jordan didn't even make the high school basketball team. And also you have so many great authors like J.K. Rowling, as well as John Grisham, Agatha Christie, C.S. Lewis. The list goes on and on and on. So many great authors that did not get published, and they failed 30 or 40 times until an editor accepted their manuscript, so to speak. I failed a lot in business. Not that I'm in the same class as anybody else like that, but also Bill Gates, you know, his first business venture was a failure. And as Mark Cuban said, you only have to be right in business one time. And so you got to look failure in the face and say, screw you, failure. I don't care if I fail, because failure is cool. And I don't care what other people think of me if I fail, because if I focus all my thoughts on what others think of me, you know, I'll never make it. You just gotta put yourself out there and say, screw it, let's do it, as Sir Richard Branson says, and just keep trying. And just know that your first business venture might not be incredibly successful, but that's okay, man. You just got to be right one time. And in my MBA degree program, in the third of 4 semesters, in the third semester, what we do is I put you through a venture capital boot camp. You know, I've worked in venture capital before. I've also worked with some of the best venture capital incubators on the planet and angel investors. And so I kind of put what I learned from them and from my experience in the venture capital industry. and I help you to start a company. And if you're in the platinum version of the program, during one-on-ones, I actually read the business plan with you, if that's something you're interested in. Or if you're in the platinum version, I actually create your entire LinkedIn profile by myself, not anybody on my team. I do it myself with you, etc. So you got to be fearless, and you just got to tell yourself, I don't care what people think of me. I just don't care. But you got to be a risk taker too. And what I'm going to say is going to sound kind of out there. I love risk, calculated risk. And whenever I start a company, I love that feeling of being over my head because I'm challenging myself. I'm pushing the goalpost out. And so I kind of feel like sometimes when I start companies, and this is going to be out there, but it's exciting, I feel like I'm looking over the edge of a cliff. And it's a metaphor only. The edge of a cliff. And I throw a bunch of airplane parts off. And then I jump. And I have to assemble the airplane before I land. I usually make it. Sometimes I don't. But I love the excitement of challenging myself. And last thing I'll say is that failing to plan is planning to fail. And most people don't write a business plan when they start a company. And that's a recipe for disaster. It's the most important decision you'll make, non-personal decision you'll make in your life. Because if you're wrong about it, or if you don't execute flawlessly, it can take years off your life. It can hurt your relationship with your loved ones, etc. And so I really believe that you have to write a thorough business plan first. And in my MBA degree program, I walk you through all the steps on how to create a fantastic business plan during my venture capital boot camp. And if you have any follow-up questions about that, please let me know, and thank you as always. Okay. All right. And I can hear my son upstairs. He's running around with the cat. We got a cat a couple months ago, and he's having fun. It's not easy being homeschooled. My kids are still at home, and it looks like they won't go back until next year. It's up to the state, not up to us, of course. Crazy times we live in. All right. Next question is Shubham is saying, other than selling, what are the other important skills that entrepreneurs must have? Yeah. So you nailed it. The most important skill set is selling. But I would say the ability to take risks and not give a damn if everybody laughs at you if you fail. And as Eleanor Roosevelt said, they're going to criticize you anyway, so you might as well just do it. You got to tell yourself, I don't care what anybody else thinks. I'm going to be a thought leader. I'm going to go out my own, and I'm going to take a risk. But one of the other things you have to learn in business is finance and accounting. And a lot of business is common sense, but not finance and accounting. It's actually like a different language. And so you have to understand the basics of finance and accounting in order to be very successful in business. And I pride myself on teaching finance and accounting in a very fun way, using many props in my MBA degree program. So I would say that finance and accounting is another important skill set. Another skill set that's important is sales, marketing, and communications, which is another cornerstone of my MBA degree program. You have to be a great salesperson, not just in person, but also online. You have to be able to go to interviews online and talk about your business in an exciting way, and hopefully try to humbly inspire other people. And you have to be able to take advantage of new social media platforms and existing ones to spread the word about your brand. YouTube is the only gold rush in history where it costs you nothing to make the product. And YouTube is also the only gold rush in history where you can get immediate access to billions of potential customers right away for free. And so I think you have to learn how to master social media skills. And I teach you how to use many different social media platforms the easy and smart way in my MBA degree program as well. And so that's marketing, right? And it's free. The old days of paying a fortune for to hire an advertising agency on Madison Avenue, like you saw in the TV show Mad Men is behind us. You could do it yourself. Just make sure that you repurpose your own content, which is what I do. And so from this weekly call, we're on week 114 now. It's been fun, and we're just getting started. But from this weekly call, what I do is I repurpose the content. And so when students ask great questions like yours here, Shubham, what I do is I actually take that and I turn that into a vlog on YouTube and a little video snippet on Instagram, as well as on LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. So you have to be able to repurpose content as well, and really stay up to date with different social media trends as well, because they're all free to use and they can put you on the map. And all you need is one video to go viral in order to take your career or your business to the next level. All right, next up. Next question is from Shubham, who's asking, any book recommendations for learning the basics of finance? Yeah, no, there's nothing out there for that. If you want a textbook that deals with finance, the closest thing you can get to something that's helpful is anything that an NYU professor whose name is Damodaran writes. He's great, but it's still kind of theoretical, his work. I would say the best way to learn about finance is to take online courses. I have a course of mine called the Complete Financial Analyst course, where it's over 20 hours long, and I put you through a boot camp and a pretend company called Haroun Sachs. Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs are not nearly as good as MHS, Morgan Haroun Sachs, just kidding. And you rotate through the different divisions of that company, including investment banking, trading, other investment categories, etc., private wealth management, equity capital markets, etc. But I teach based on my real life practical experience. And if you don't want to take my MBA degree program to learn a lot more about finance and accounting, you can take that course. Again, it's called the Complete Financial Analyst Training and Investing course, and you can get it on Udemy or go to my website and navigate through my website, and you'll find it there. Yeah. All right. Next up, question is, any tips for putting aside distractions during work and making substantial progress? Yeah. So I've worked on a trading floor before. I've worked in open base concept offices where nobody has an office, and I learned a couple of tricks. One of them is get those headsets where you can block out noise. Okay, and while you're wearing them, people might think that you're on a phone call because they have microphones as well. And so I use there's Bose, but Sony makes great ones, and there are other ones as well that are similar. So I wear noise canceling headsets a lot, or I used to at least when I work in noisy environments. And if it's not quiet enough for you with that, then put on classical music at the same time to block out the noise. And if it's still too loud, then put earplugs in and then the headset, which is what I've done before. But what I will say is that when you do what you absolutely love doing, distractions are irrelevant. It's kind of like when you're playing a video game at home and 10 hours go by and you don't even realize it. And, there's distractions at home. People are walking around, whatever, especially with COVID. My cat will jump on my lap. We just bought a cat recently. Best time to have a pet is during COVID because you're at home all the time anyway. But I find that I don't get distracted because I do what I love doing. And so I think that you got to find your passion. And once you do find your passion or your raison d'etre, not only will you never have a job for the rest of your life, but you won't have problems focusing. You won't. Yeah. Other things I do is, I drink coffee. I drink Bulletproof Coffee. And please do research on this before you do what I'm telling you to do. But for hundreds of years, people have been putting butter in their coffee or their tea. And it's helped them to materially improve their cognitive abilities. And that's what Bulletproof Coffee basically is. It's basically coffee. You put a little bit of butter in it, and then you put what's called MCT oil, which is like coconut oil. And it gives you this kind of, and I'm not sponsored by anybody, nor will I ever be. I'll never sell out. But it gives you this amazing cognitive ability where you're able to focus. And I've been doing it for 5 years now, and I've never been more creative in my life. It's kind of like that movie Limitless with Bradley Cooper, where he takes that substance, which is an illegal drug, obviously, but this is not illegal. He takes that substance and he's able to really, really focus. That's what Bulletproof Coffee is for me, at least. But I love coffee so much. I only have 1 cup a day. That's it. I love it so much that sometimes I'll be in bed and about to fall asleep and I'm thinking to myself, I can't wait to wake up to have my coffee. And also that's a reflection on I love doing what I love doing. I just enjoy every second of teaching. It's fun for me. It's fun for me. And so I want to inspire you all humbly to find your passion. And if you get out of bed in the morning and tell yourself you're going to work, then with all due respect, you're doing it wrong. You got to find your purpose. You got to find your raison d'être. You know, what was the reason that you were put on this earth? And if you feel like you're going to work, then that's not your passion. And I get it. We all need money, and it's tough to chase your dreams when you're very, very young sometimes. But there's got to come a point in your life where you say enough is enough, and I'm not going to chase money anymore. And I don't care what people think of me. I'm going to chase my dreams and make my dreams become a reality. And I'm going to fail, and I don't care. You know, rinse, lather, repeat, fail over and over and over again until you're successful. Otherwise, what happens is something awful. You wake up one day and you're really old, and some schmuck is paying you this much money to make their dreams become a reality. You got to find your passion. And the way you'll know you found your passion is if you wake up one day and you look at your clock and it's like 4 a.m, and instead of saying, yay, I have a couple more hours of sleep, you say, yay, I'm getting up. I can't wait to get up because I love doing what I'm doing. I'm passionate about what I'm doing. And it can take you a while. You know, for me, it took me until my 40s to realize that, you know, my purpose and what I love doing is teaching. But once you find an occupation you love, as Confucius said, you'll never have a job for the rest of your life. And the feeling you get when you have a job you love is similar to, but not as good as, similar to holding your baby for the first time. You know, for those of you that are parents out there, you know what it's like. When you hold your child for the first time, you feel a level of happiness in your heart you never thought you could feel before. It's lightning in a bottle. And when you do what you love doing, you'll feel a little bit of that every single day for the rest of your life. And it's my job to humbly help you find out what your passion is and make those dreams become a reality by helping you to at least, or to maybe change jobs to find a better job, or start a company. And for those of you that join my MBA degree program in the Platinum program, and you can go to harounmba.com to learn more. During the one-on-one meetings, I personally write your LinkedIn profile so that you're much more competitive and so you can chase your dreams and make your dreams become a reality as well. So go to harounmba.com to check out all the details on the MBA degree programs. Thank you. All right. Speaking of coffee, yeah. And also, I'm doing this on November 27th. And while I read the next question, I'll let you read through that. I'm doing this event, and I'd love to have y'all join us as well. Thank you. All right, next question we got is, how much exploring should one do during their 20s? Yeah, I would say a lot, and I would say not just in your 20s, but also for the rest of your life. You know, the average life expectancy is now 26 years longer than it was in the 1950s. And what that means is you are all 26 years younger than you think you are. So if you're 46, you're actually 20. You know, if you're 55, you're still in your 20s. You're 29. So I would say explore a lot, different careers, etc. And it's never too late to change careers and start over. And what you got to do is you got to be able to network aggressively to get informational meetings. And I've got this book you can get for free. It's on my website, which is harounventures.com. And I teach you in a couple hundred pages, it's free, on how to network and network aggressively to get a job, a customer, or anything you want. So I think that exploring never ends when it comes to your career. And we change as well. Like what you think is your passion now, and if you're in a job where you're incredibly passionate about it, you might change one day and wake up and say, I'm not passionate about this anymore. And you might need to change careers. And so I think you should always be exploring, always be networking, always set up informational meetings, always look for your Yoda, meaning mentors, to guide you along your path. So I think you should always be exploring. It never ends. And you'll know you have the right job when it doesn't feel like a job, it feels like a passion. Think with your heart first, otherwise this won't work. And for those of you that want to change careers, if you join my MBA degree program in the Platinum program, I personally write your LinkedIn profile for you. And I coach how to interview, I coach how to sell, I coach on how to start a company, how to change careers, etc. All right, give me 1 second here. All right. Next up, Kanal is saying, good morning, Chris. I hope you're doing well. Likewise. Given all that's going on in the United States, who, according to you, has more power? The billionaires, the president, social media, universities, mainstream media, television, and how would you rank them by power? Yeah, thanks. So I would say, well, it's usually the president, for better or for worse. Okay, that's number one. Then number two, I would say billionaires. A lot of very wealthy people throw around their money and influence many others. In many cases, not the right ways too. I won't go there. Then after that, I would say the mainstream media. Okay. Then I would say universities and then social media. Okay, that's how I'd rank them by power. That's today. But in the future, meaning in 10 or 15 years, that's going to change dramatically. I would put universities last in the future because I think that most universities are going to go bankrupt. It doesn't make sense to spend 4 years doing an undergraduate degree, which costs you $100,000, and you learn nothing that you can apply in the real world. Plus, speaking of billionaires, a lot of very wealthy people, they bribe university officials to get their kids in. Why is it that extraordinarily wealthy people, their kids all go to great universities? Yes, a lot of them work hard and earn it, and I respect them if they do. But when it comes to scandals and universities, I think we're going to uncover a lot more bribing incidents, like we've seen with the USC, the university, where a couple of actors, bribed officials get their kids in. That's just the tip of the iceberg, and I think that allowing people to get into universities, based on who their parents are or how much money they donate is criminal. It's unethical. And I think the way it should work is when you apply to universities, you shouldn't even give your name. You should just, write an essay, show your transcript, etc. So I think universities will rank at the bottom longer term in terms of your 5 questions there. In terms of the other rankings in the future, I would say billionaires will rank first above presidents, prime ministers in the long run. I really do. I think that social media will rank third. Second will be president. Third will be social media. And then mainstream media will be 4. And mainstream media is going to lose a lot, in my humble opinion, lose a lot of power because the younger generation is growing up digital. They're not growing up watching television. They're growing up watching these things. But when I was a kid, my parents would watch television. They'd watch 60 Minutes or CNN Breaking News, whatever it was. And I'd be on the couch beside them because I had nothing else to do. Well, my kids They're not on the couch beside us when we're watching CNN or Fox News or whatever it is we watch. I like BBC, by the way, because it's more neutral. If they are on the couch, they're watching YouTube. And so the younger generation has grown up digital. It's the YouTube generation. And so I think the mainstream media is going to be losing a lot of power, and they'll be less relevant in the future. That's why the mainstream media, there's this fear factor they use, to get us to stay glued to the television. Find out why I'm going to make this up. Find out why 1/3 of the country is going to cause a revolution after the break. Like it's that ridiculous. So there's a lot of breaking news out there that keeps us glued to television, and it's not healthy at all. It's not healthy. And I think the younger generation is much more positive than the older generation, because they're not growing up watching breaking news on the television and all the negative news. They're watching their own news on YouTube and other social media outlets. All right. Next up, Michael is saying, hey, Chris. And then you wrote apa kabar, which means how are you in Indonesian? Thank you. Likewise. I'm so excited to join the weekly webcast again. Thank you for this amazing content you give us every week. My pleasure. And thank you for joining as well. And the question from Michael is, what are your thoughts about the rivalry between Intel and AMD now versus 5 years ago, and the work that has been done by Lisa Su as the CEO of AMD? Yeah. It blows me away that that NVIDIA's market cap is greater than Intel. And for those of you not familiar with NVIDIA, ticker NVIDIA, NVIDIA makes graphics cards. It's amazing. And it's incredible how less relevant Intel's becoming. And I always believe that when founders leave a company, innovation dies, and that company becomes much less relevant. And, God bless Dr. Andy Grove. He passed away recently. But when he retired from Intel, I kind of felt like the innovation coming out of Intel went down materially. NVIDIA is still being run by its founder. And so they're incredibly innovative. In terms of AMD, it's kind of a different story. And I used to know the CEO of AMD quite well. We used to be on a board together. Good guy. AMD has kind of grown through acquisitions over the years. They bought my beloved ATI, which is a graphics card company, a Canadian tech company. I'm from Canada. And they're certainly giving Intel a run for their money, especially with Ryzen and in the video game space as well. So I would say the quality of work being done by Lisa and AMD, Lisa is the CEO, Lisa Su, CEO of AMD, is much, much higher than that of Intel. I think AMD is much more relevant. It used to be a crappy brand when it came to computers. But now, just given the fact that they've incorporated all of the ATI graphics chip technology through the acquisition, they're doing much better things than Intel. Intel doesn't have a rival product that can compete with the IP that AMD has through the ATI graphics card acquisition they made many, many years ago. So I'm more bullish on AMD. And even for my cryptocurrency computers that I've made, for mining, I use AMD because the price and quality is much, much better for low end and high end as well when it comes to competing against Intel. Now, we all know that for a cryptocurrency computer, get the cheapest processor you can get because it's all about the graphics card. But anyway, if you have additional questions about AMD or Intel, please let me know. But I do believe that Intel has kind of been in decline for a decade. And I think they're going to be much less relevant a decade from now, too, because what's happening is great companies like Apple, they're becoming vertically integrated, making their own chips as well. So it's interesting, yeah. It just blows me away, though, that the market cap of NVIDIA is higher than Intel's. It just blows. If you asked me that 10 or 15 years ago, I'd say there's no damn way. In fact, in the past, Intel has wanted to buy NVIDIA, but antitrust would never have allowed it. How the mighty have fallen. Next question is from Michael, which is, what should I prepare for if I want to apply for a master's degree in an MBA if my undergraduate degree is in computer science? Yeah. So I wouldn't, don't worry, because they're going to teach you all that stuff from scratch anyway in business school. And there's a saying in Silicon Valley that it's easier to teach finance to an engineer than it is to teach engineering to a finance person. So I don't think that you have to prepare at all before you start. And for my MBA degree programs, there's no prerequisites. And I don't recommend anybody do any preparation because I teach you all everything from scratch. All right, next up is Casey. Casey is saying, hi, Chris, hope you're doing well and having a great week. Likewise. What do you think are the main reasons that hold many people back from living their best lives? Yeah. I would say fear of failure, fear of what other people think of them, fear of the future, a fear of being different, fear of shame in general. It's fear. That's all it is. And whatever your fears are in business and in life, you got to run to your fears. If you're fearful of public speaking, like I was for decades, you got to run towards it and public speak all the time and condition yourself to love it. Now I love it. If you're fearful of accounting, and I got a D in accounting in undergrad at McGill University because I was memorizing and not understanding accounting. But I teach you in my MBA degree program how to understand financial statements and read financial statements like a good book. It's a lot of fun. I teach my students to take their biggest fear and their biggest perceived weaknesses and turn it into their biggest strengths. So I would say just run to your fears and don't give a damn what anybody thinks of you. If you care what other people think of you, you'll always be their prisoner in your own mind. And most people don't care, to be honest. Like we become so insecure, and I used to be very insecure, thinking, gosh, what do people think of this? Or nobody cares. Nobody's thinking of you. And as Dr. Seuss said, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. So you just got to tell yourself that I don't give a damn what anybody thinks. And you got to use Sir Richard Branson's outlook on life, which is, screw it, let's do it. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to follow my own dreams and not care what anyone else thinks. Because if you don't follow your dreams, or if you chase money, you'll lose your money and your dreams. But if you chase your dreams, as long as you're willing to fail at least a couple times, something wonderful happens. Your dreams come true, and the money follows accidentally. It always does, no matter what anybody tells you. If you chase your dreams and you're willing to fail a couple times, they will come true, and the money will follow accidentally. You can't just chase money, though. And I get it, earlier in our career, we have to pay the bills. I get it. But there's got to come a point where you start a side hustle, and I pride myself on helping my students do so, where you start a side hustle, and you do it not just for the money. You do it because you love it. You want to help other people, serve other people. And if you think with your heart, with your side hustle or your startup, etc., this will work much better. You got to think with this first. Otherwise, this will never work properly, and you'll never reach your full potential in life. Okay. All right, next question is from Casey, which is, of all your Udemy courses, which have been the most popular? What do you think are the reasons for these courses being the most popular? Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. So I would say that by far the most popular one is a course of mine called An Entire MBA in One Course. It's 8 hours long, and it's sold hundreds of thousands of copies in every country in the world. So it's done really well. And it's still responsible, as I look at all of my revenue across all platforms, it's still responsible for 15 to 20% of all the revenue I make from online courses. It's amazing. It was humbly touched by God. So that one, and it's a short course too. It's only 8 hours versus my MBA degree program, which is 500 hours. You can learn more at harounmba.com. But that course, it was weird. Like, I didn't do it to make money, what I did was this. It was, I think, early 2016, and I'm on the board of this not-for-profit called the Limo Foundation in East Palo Alto, where the high school graduation rate is only 40%. And so in the Limo Foundation, what we do is we give scholarships to a lot of kids, students between the ages of 9 and 17. And we send them to the best private schools, et cetera. And a lot of them come from broken homes, with deadbeat fathers. I don't believe there's such thing as a deadbeat mother. But what I would do is I would teach those students. And let me actually show you, because it was everything that happened with me was kind of accidental. But I taught these students one day. And of course I don't do it for the money. It's free. I want to give back and help. But what happened was I taught them one day. And Patrick, who's also on the board of Limo Foundation from Longitude Capital, God bless him, he let us use their office one day to teach. And so I created something called an entire MBA in one day for these students in the Limo Foundation. And let me show you a picture of that event, because that event did change my life. So it'll load here in a second, I promise you. Here we go. Yeah. So right here, these are the students. And I created here just a diploma for them, which is why I'm doing the MBA degree program now, making it. But here's the students here. Let me show you that again. I'm sorry, it's going to change. So I'll do a screen print here like that. Yeah. So what happened was it was on a Saturday in January of 2016. And I taught these students for 12 hours straight. And I taught them everything I knew about business in 12 hours. And they loved it. And they were able to really focus. And I made degrees for them myself, gave them one of my books. And they paid close attention the whole day. It was amazing. They're brilliant kids. I love them. They're amazing. And so what I did actually was the next day, which was a Sunday, I put up a camera at home here. And I just started recording. And I let the camera go for about 10 hours, and then nonstop, and I couldn't stop. I was getting it all out of me. It was my Jerry Maguire moment, I guess. Whatever. Remember when he wrote all night his business plan, and then he got fired? Sorry. So it was my Jerry Maguire moment without getting fired. And so I created the course. I didn't do it for money, and I just threw it on Udemy, and it worked out incredibly well. And I think one of the reasons is because I wasn't chasing money. And I wasn't thinking with this first. I was thinking with this first. If you think with your heart first in business and all aspects of life, and let your mind follow, then wonderful things can happen. But you can't just do it. You can't just chase money. Otherwise, you'll lead a miserable existence. You got to serve other people and do your best to humbly help others reach their full potential in life. Because when one teaches, two learn. All right. All right. And by the way, I'm in the process of releasing a French version of one of my courses called an entire MBA in one course. And I partnered with oh my God, I got to show you guys a quick little video I just got. So there's this awesome guy named, and I'll show you behind the scenes what I'm doing here. I'll get the video ready. There's this awesome guy named Vital, and he's from Rwanda. And I met him at a Udemy event in Berlin. And basically, and I'll show you this video in a second. We're building a school together, mini schools, and in Rwanda, where he's from. And what we're doing is this course coming out very soon, this month. And if you're watching a replay, it's November of 2020. This course coming out soon on Udemy called an entire MBA in one course in French. 100% of the proceeds are going to be used to build a school. And let me show you this short little interview here with Vital. So Vital and I were it's okay. It's all right. Yeah. So Vital and I are going to collaborate on what we call Project Magu. And Magu is the name of the village that he's from originally. And what we're going to do is we're going to leverage online education to provide scholarships and full access to all business and personal development courses by January 1st of 2021 to 100 students in his hometown. And Vital's story is so inspiring. He inspires me so much. Do you want to share your story?
Oh yeah, sure. So the story is how I grew up in that village called Magu. So it's a village with no access to electricity, no access to internet, no access to infrastructure. And I got a chance to go to study primary, secondary, and university through a sponsorship of Compassion, specifically with Tena Green. He's a pastor in the US. And so many kids in my age mate, they didn't get a chance to get that education. And so when we met Chris, because he's so much passionate about education, and so I was sharing with this my story with him, and told him that I'm my wish. So he asked me one question, like, if you would be given time and let's say tons of days of holiday, what would you do? What are you passionate about? So I shared that my passion is to give back to that village specifically, because I know that they don't have access to that high quality education. And so that's how the idea came, like, okay, giving back to that village through education. And so that's the background. And so I grew up in that village and went to university and made it to master's degree in Germany. And I have just a heart to give back to that village. Yeah.
Together, we believe that every problem in the world can be solved with a combination of education and technology. And we're going to make it happen together. And we're going to create a blueprint, a business plan, so to speak, based on Project Magu, so that anybody in the world can apply what we've learned to provide online education to every student in the world.
Even in those villages like mine. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, man.
I'm gonna make it fun. Oh, he has maybe some other questions.
Oh, yeah, more.
I guess you can think of something else that you want to say. I think that was quite good in the film.
Because you said the deadline and you said the goal of 100 students, right?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Well, I think you've said everything in the separate interviews already, so this is just an opportunity to see you two together,
Absolutely,
which works, and I think we're good.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you doing this. Thank you.
Likewise, thank you.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thanks.
And I want to thank Vital, as well as Patrick Heffernan from Udemy for helping me out with this as well. God bless you, Patrick and Vital. And Vital and myself, my staff, we're working 24/7 right now to get this course done by Sunday night. So we got a lot of work to do. And I got to teach my MBA degree students as well. But they're doing all the heavy work. That's Vital, Matt, and Doug, my incredible staff. Yeah, Matt and Doug, that is. Yeah. Vital's the best. All right. Next up, Casey is saying, in a previous webcast, you mentioned turn your weaknesses into strengths. Please give us some examples. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, absolutely. So whatever your fear is in life, you've got to run to your fear and turn whatever you think is your weakness into a strength by conditioning yourself to enjoy that weakness or that fear. It sounds out there, but it works. So it's kind of like the Rodin sculpture, I think, therefore I am. You got to change your perception. So for me, for example, it was public speaking. I was terrified of doing public speaking for decades because I was insecure and I gave a damn what other people think of me. I did. I cared. Like I would chase different careers just because I thought it would give me more social acceptance, etc. And I was never happy when I switched careers, from working at Goldman to the hedge fund sector to the venture capital sector to consulting to starting many companies. And then eventually I just said, I don't care what anybody thinks of me. I'm just going to teach. And for the first couple of years of teaching online, people would call me from the hedge fund industry and venture capital, and they would say, do you want to come back? Are you done with this teaching thing? And I was like, no way, I'm just getting started, dude. And so if people think you're crazy doing what you're doing, good, because that means there's not much competition. But once you get a little bit of success, they'll call you a crazy genius. And then once you get a lot of success, they'll call you a genius. People still think I'm crazy for doing what I'm doing. Okay, I'll never get to the genius stage. But you just got to say, I don't give a damn what other people think. I'm just going to do what I want to do. So public speaking, I was terrified of. And so what I did was I thought to myself, how do I conquer my fear of public speaking while helping people at the same time? Think about the most scariest place on the planet to do public speaking. In jail. I went to jail. I went to jail to work on helping other people that are unfairly imprisoned, especially those kids that have deadbeat fathers. I had the wonderful luxury of having two incredible parents with me my whole life. I love them to death. But there's so many people who don't have a father. And so because of that, they committed a crime and they got caught. They probably did something I did many times, but didn't get caught. And so I went into the prison system. I had to get a police badge. They did a background check on me and everything in Redwood City. It's called the Magu Correctional Facility. And I started presenting. And it was terrifying, dude. It was scary. Here's the real story. So I would go through my church and through St. Vincent de Paul. It's a charitable organization. And it's not a religious thing, what I'm getting at right here. But I would go in through the church just to talk to inmates and just kind of talk to them. And we were coached on how never to say anything personal about yourself, where you live, all that stuff, obviously. Although I felt comfortable with all of these inmates, okay, almost all of them. And so I would go in with the church. And one Sunday I showed up and the priest wasn't there. And so the warden of the jail said, Haroun, Father whatever is not here. You have to conduct mass. And this is not a religious thing, what I'm about to say, okay? And I was terrified. I was like, dude, I don't know how to do that. And I am a Eucharistic minister. It means I can give, communion. But he said, look, it's not that hard. Just read the pamphlet. And I was like, oh, okay. And so what I did was I went in through a bunch of different security doors and you had to nod to cameras, and finally they let me in. And there's 3 floors there at the Magu Correctional Facility. One is for really well-behaved people. The other is medium, and the third one is brutal. I was in the middle. And so I went and I'm standing there, and there's 30 inmates in a small room, and they're in orange jumpsuits. Right, and you're not allowed to wear the color orange when you go in there for obvious reasons. And so they're all like this, right? And some of them had tattoos in their face. One in particular had a tattoo that said "F you" right here. Like literally, that's intimidating, man. And so I got up there and I was reading from the pamphlet, right? Just whatever it is I'm reading to all of them. And and I was scared. And by the way, if you're ever presenting and you feel scared, and your knees are shaking, don't worry, because you never look scared and you never look nervous. You just feel it. You never look as nervous as you feel. And so I was reading it, and then I got to a point where, in the way it works in church and many religious institutions, is you read a passage from a religious text, the gospel in this case. And then you're supposed to give a speech. And priests, prepare all week long for these speeches. And so the gospel reading was on hope and confidence. And then I was supposed to give a speech. I'm like, dude, what the hell am I going to say? I haven't had any time to prepare. I'm terrified, man. And so I put down the pamphlet, and I was supposed to give a speech, and there's 30 inmates like this. And I thought, Chris, if you're ever going to conquer your damn fear, it's now. And so I said this, and I totally winged it. I said, do you believe in God? And, the inmates were like, yeah. And I said, does God believe in you? And they said, yeah. And then I said, well, if you don't believe in yourself, then you might have to question your faith. And the arms went like this, and they went to, And it was at that moment where I conquered my fear of public speaking and turned my biggest perceived weakness into my biggest humble strength. Now I love public speaking. I absolutely love it. But I had to run to my fear and look at fear in the face and conquer it. And now I love it. I love being challenged. I love being challenged. I love the feeling of being over my head. I love it. Because when you challenge yourself and you overcome a big fear and turn your weakness into a strength, then you feel unstoppable. So you got to run to your fear. The same thing with accounting. I was so bad at accounting. I took it the first time at McGill University. And I remember it was the summer of 1991. I was with my buddy Pete Agard. He was from Trinidad, great guy, I miss him. We were at my parents' cottage, and I was hungover. There's no filter here. Too many Cuba Libras. And I called up Mars, which is McGill's automated registration service, to get my grades. It was a computer. And she said, your grade in accounting is D. Ha 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 ha. She didn't laugh. But I remember I thought my life was over then. And the reason why I got a D in accounting, and I love accounting now, and I can explain why. The reason why I got a D in accounting is because I was memorizing how accounting works. And you can do well in high school and earlier in your life if you memorize stuff. But once you get into the real world or university, whatever, you have to understand stuff. And when you understand it, you'll never forget it. And so I took accounting again. I got better than a D, not that much better. And I conditioned myself to enjoy it. How? By understanding it and challenging and questioning everything. It's kind of like that old Sega commercial, challenge everything. You got to understand why things are the way they are always. Why is it called a balance sheet? And I teach about this with many props in my MBA degree program. I have a blast doing it, so do my students. But I teach it in a unique way. Why are things called what they're called? So, for example, a balance sheet is called a balance sheet because, and you got to ask yourself, well, how would the world be like if this concept didn't exist? A balance sheet tells you what you own and who owns your stuff. And without it, you wouldn't know what you own or who owns your stuff. Well, why is it called a balance sheet? And I challenge everything and I question everything. I go to Wikipedia all the time to figure out why things are the way they are. I love it. Like, for example, a car. The reason they call it the glove compartment is because people used to wear gloves when they drove. The reason they call it the trunk is because people used to put a real trunk on the back of a car, right? That's what they used to do. And I don't know why it says the door is ajar, because the door is it's not a jar, it's a door. Awful dad humor. But within accounting, within the balance sheet, it works like this. On one side, and it's a scale, it has to balance, okay? On one side is stuff you have in your possession, okay? Then on the other side is who owns that stuff. So for example, this watch, I have this watch in my possession. Let's say it cost $100, okay? I have this in my possession. It's my asset. Well, let's say that I own half this watch and the other half is financed by the Bank of Rolex. So it's a $100 watch. $100, $50 of it I paid for, so it's mine. That equity, I have equity in it. I own half of it. And the other 50%, the other $50 is debt to the Bank of Rolex, for example. And so a $100 asset has to equal who owns that asset. So $100 asset equals $50 owned by me. That's my equity in it. Equity means ownership. And the other $50 is a liability, debt to the Bank of Toyota. So once you question why things are called what they're called, and have a curious and open mind about everything, then you can turn something you were fearful of in the past into something you absolutely love. And it's so fun to learn when you learn why things are called what they're called. So in my MBA degree program, I use a ton of props. I spend a fortune on props over eBay, etc. It's fun. And I teach it in such an enjoyable way that you'll never forget it. And you'll learn by accident. And that's why I have, and you can't see it, but back there's my license plate. It says Edutain. I believe in educating and entertaining at the same time so that my students learn by accident. And they love it too. We have a lot of fun. All right. Next up, we've got Dario. Hey, Dario, how are you, man? So Dario is based in Italy. And I went to, and I was teasing him a while ago because back in the 90s, I'm an old man, when I was in business school, there was a student who went to IMD, and then he was in my class at Columbia named Dario. And when I met him, he said, "It's me, Dario." Yeah. Of course, that's from Nintendo 64. Yeah. But Dario, hope you're doing well, buddy. I was thinking, is there a way to know all the holdings of an ETF, not just the first 10 positions? Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you not familiar with an ETF, it stands for Exchange Traded Fund. And what that means is a collection of stocks or assets in one fund that represents an index. For example, and let me show you a real example here. And don't buy mutual funds ever, please. Mutual funds are a scam. 90% of them underperform ETFs, and the fees are way, way higher too on mutual funds, and the taxes too. Okay, so let's go to Yahoo Finance together, and don't ever pay for any finance research, please. And never read sponsored stories, meaning somebody else giving you their opinion. Like, for example, down here, you'll see an ad from Raging. Never read that stuff, okay? Always form your own opinions, and I'll never tell you what stocks to buy. I'll never give you a fish. I'll teach you how to fish, though. So here's an example of an ETF. Whoops, let me type it again. And by the way, the reason why Tesla has gone up a lot this week is because it was added to the S&P 500 index. And the S&P 500 index, it represents 500 stocks that represents the U.S. economy. And so the company Standard & Poor's decided that, hey, Tesla, ticker TSLA, kind of represents the future of the economy. And so the S&P company put Tesla into the 500 stocks that represent the U.S. economy and the U.S. markets. And that's why it went up a lot, is because of ETFs. ETFs, exchange traded funds. You can buy ETFs for the S&P. For example, this ticker I just typed in, SPY, people call it the spiders, traders call it that. It represents the S&P 500 ETF. So what you can do is you can go into the holdings here, okay, and find out what they own. And give me a second. I'm just going to get rid of my ugly mug in the corner so you can see this properly. Okay. All right. This you can see here in the S&P 500, it has these components here. These are the sector weightings, okay? And there's 11 different sectors in the Standard & Poor's index, okay? In terms of the assets, here are just the top 10 holdings, okay? Apple, Microsoft, a bunch of other entities, etc. Amazing how well NVIDIA has done. I can't believe it's bigger than Intel. Amazing. Anyway, all right. So what you can do, though, is you can actually go and read the prospectus on any ETF that you want to. So probably the best ETF company I know is called Vanguard, okay? And Vanguard is a great ETF company. Whoops, that's the wrong Vanguard. And there's other companies that make ETFs as well. There's Schwab, talk to Chuck, Charles Schwab, Standard & Poor's, etc. So if we go here to Vanguard's website, this is the official Vanguard website, what we can do is we can read a prospectus. And a prospectus or an offering memorandum is basically a document that lawyers create and finance people create so that you can read all the risks before investing in anything. So never invest in an IPO without reading the investment memorandum, which is called an S1. And you can always go to sec.gov, enter in the ticker to get the S1 in any company. And never, ever raise money without talking to a lawyer first and getting the lawyer to create an investment offering as well, just to CYA, cover your backside. All right. So what you can do here is you can go and read about ETFs. Okay. So let me see if I can find a random one here. All right. Hold on a second. If I can find it. Hold on. So let's go to... Hold on a second. It should be here somewhere. I don't know. I can't find it, man. All right, hold on one second. Sorry, guys. All right, what I will do is I will search Google for Vanguard Offering Memorandum ETF. Google always has a better search website than the the website itself. All right, so what you can do is you can read up on all the funds. And in these funds, here's the prospectuses. I'm so sorry. So I hear it. What you can do is you can read up and find out what's in these. Here we go. I found it. Okay, good. All right, so here are our ETFs. Okay, these are all ETFs. They all have their own ticker. So what you can do is you can read the prospectus to find out what stocks are in here. And they should release what stocks are in here. They have lots of different prospectuses. This is a live call, making a fool of myself because I can't find it, but I will find it. Hold on a second. There's an investment offering memorandum. It is here. All right, let's search for... it's killing me, guys. So sorry. It's a live call. I'm screwing this up big time, but it happens, guys. It happens. All right. Let's search. I don't know why it's jumping there. Search for Canada. Maybe there's an ETF for Canadian stocks. Okay. These are bond funds. All right. So let me look at this bond fund and find out what's in it here. Okay. So give me 1 second. What we can do is we can find what's in here. So yeah, here you can see the asset classes here and what's in this in general. But there's actually a prospectus that you can download. I promise you it's here for all of their shares, all of their portfolios. That will tell you exactly what's in here. It's here. Anyway, so just do a search. You'll be able to download an ETF here. Or the prospectus to read what's in here. And this way you don't just look at what the top 10 holdings are, but it will show you all of the holdings for this. Okay. Give me 1 second. So sorry, guys. Portfolio management. Yeah. Yeah, if you navigate through here, you will find a PDF that will tell you exactly what's in here. I promise you. I promise you. So, yeah. So let's go SPY investor offering or prospectus. All right. Anyway, it's out there, guys. I'm sorry for butchering that one. But you can always read the offering memorandum to find out. I lost a couple of people there. I see, the good thing about doing this in real time is you can see when people drop off because I butchered the answer. I'm sorry. But for anything you buy ETF-wise, you should be able to read through the prospectus to see what they own by going to the source of whatever company issued that ETF. They're out there, I promise you. All right. Next question is, what are the effects of buying back shares on the PE and why? Yeah. So PE stands for price divided by earnings per share. Okay. So if earnings per share means earnings divided by the number of shares, and if the number of shares goes down a lot, then what happens is earnings per share goes up, and therefore price divided by earnings per share goes down because the denominator is getting a lot bigger, price over earnings, right? The earnings per share is getting bigger, the denominator. So the price over the earnings per share goes down. That's why. And if that didn't make sense, please let me know. All right. And Dario is saying, P.S. Every Thursday, you shed a light in my life. Every time I feel frustrated, I always remember that it's a blessing. Thank you. Thank you for that, Dario. I appreciate that. God bless you. God bless you. I'm so sorry about my butchered answer there. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does. I didn't do a great job answering that question. Thank you, though. All right. Next up, Albus is saying, thank you, Chris, for recommending Angela Yu's programming courses. They're awesome. She's great. She's amazing. If anybody wants to learn how to code and you've never done it before, what you can do is you can learn from scratch by doing a search for Angela Yu and her courses on Udemy. And I met her before. She's wonderful. I met her actually in Berlin last year at an event, Udemy conference. And she's a doctor, and she decided that she doesn't want to be a doctor anymore. She wants to follow her passion, which is teaching. And so she teaches the best damn courses here on how to program from scratch, how to be a web programmer, iOS, Android, etc. She makes it easy and a lot of fun. And her courses are way better than any courses I'll ever make. So you can reinvent yourself starting today by taking her courses. And then Albus wrote here, it's wonderful how you're taking time out to help people from around the world. Thank you. It's fun. It's fun. It's my raison d'etre, my purpose. I love to do it. I love to do it. Although I did butcher that question there for Dario. Sorry about that, Dario. Yeah. All right. Next up, Maria is saying, hey, Chris, how are you? I'm great. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. You wrote here, thank you again for the tips on my LinkedIn and portfolio. Oh, yeah, I remember you. That's right. Last week, you asked me to look at your LinkedIn profile live, and we looked at it, and you work in the video game space. I remember that. And I remember looking at your portfolio live of 3D and two-dimensional images you've created using CAD software. It looked great. And then Maria wrote here, I actually have a job interview tomorrow afternoon. Awesome. For a visual QA test role. I'm super excited and super nervous about it. Yeah. So what I would say is if you go in there wanting the job, then you won't do as well. I know that sounds out there. Please hear me out. Okay. So I remember I went through a dry spell for ages. I couldn't get a job in a certain industry. And I got tons of interviews because I was great at networking. And I get to the interview and I just kind of, I thought I aced it. And then afterwards I found out I didn't get the job. And then what happened was I went to an interview and I was just fed up. And I told myself, I just don't care if I get this job. I don't care. I'm just going to be me. And we talked about baseball, talked about the weather, current events. I didn't try to sell myself. And I got that job. And then I did it again later. I got another job. Rinse, lather, repeat. It worked over and over and over again. And the reason is because I bonded first. You never go to an interview or a meeting and start selling yourself right away. Business is about relationships first and product knowledge second. You always bond before business because your network is your net worth. And so that's what happened to me. I just started bonding with people I'd interview with, and I'd get all the jobs. So make sure you bond with them. So how do you bond with them? Well, remember, tell yourself you don't care if you get the job or not, because that will make sure you're not nervous. And you shouldn't be nervous anyway. Just be you. Because as Dr. Seuss said, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. But when you get to the interview, Maria, what I want you to do is before the interview, I want you to go to the Twitter profile of whoever you're interviewing with. And I want you to just kind of scan who they follow. If they follow, and I know you're in the video game space, if they follow Naughty Dog Studios, and I follow them on Twitter, then to talk about the games that Naughty Dog makes. Maybe Uncharted 1 through 4 or The Last of Us Part 1 or 2. I'm playing The Last of Us Part 2 still now. It's terrifying, dude. I have to play with the lights on. Yeah. That's scary. Yeah. But you can always find out what people's passions or interests are based on who they follow in Twitter. It'll help you spark up a conversation. And so sports, for example, sports is great boardroom talk. It is. And if I meet with somebody from any place in the world, I can usually strike up some sort of conversation about sports or entertainment or movies, whatever it is. So if I meet somebody from Baltimore, for example, I'll talk about my admiration for Cal Ripken, who they called him the Iron Horse. He played for the Baltimore Orioles years ago. And I just love talking about baseball. I'm passionate about it. And if the other person I'm meeting with is also passionate about it, we hit it off. So you got to find something you have in common with them and just bond based on that and let them steer the meeting. Okay. If they want to get down to business, then, they can change the topic of bonding and start asking you questions. That's fine. And keep your answers short. Don't give them too much, because that way you have more ammo left, so to speak, if they ask a follow-up question. And I teach this in my MBA degree program and a bunch of my other courses as well. But I teach this in more detail in my MBA degree program. I teach you about transition words. So if you want to buy time and you're trying to string together a lot of logic in an interview, you can use terms like moving on to, in terms of, next up is. If you find yourself rambling, then you can quickly use a crutch by saying, and the bottom line is yada, yada, yada. Okay. So that's what I recommend. And by using transition words and frameworks when you answer questions, you're showing them that you're methodical in your thought process, and you're also buying time so you can think of the answer. So if somebody asks me a business question, I might answer by saying, that's a great question. Let's take a look at it from a SWOT perspective: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, SWOT. I'll kick it off with the strengths. The strengths of the company are yada, yada, yada. In terms of the weaknesses are yada, yada, yada. Moving on to the opportunities, blah, blah, blah. And lastly, the threats, blah, blah, blah. And the bottom line is this. So best of luck with the interview. Just enjoy the meeting, okay? Thoroughly enjoy the meeting. That's all it is. It's just a meeting. It's not an interview. Yeah. Then you have a follow-up question here about your interview. You wrote, I'm trying to come up with an idea of a template to share or send them as you recommend in your course. Any ideas on which template would work best for a visual / a design quality assessment role? Yeah. Here's what I recommend doing. So I recommend doing a one-page write-up on new products in the QA industry or design industry. Okay. So if I was from a testing role perspective, if I went back in time to 2005 and I was interviewing for a programming role in the testing market, I might talk about new products from Mercury Interactive, which was a great Israeli company that does testing software, which Hewlett-Packard bought. And by the way, Hewlett-Packard is where software companies go to die. Yeah, terrible, but true. So I would find a couple of visual / design quality assessment applications that you can beta test and maybe do a one-pager on them, okay? And you bring your laptop as well, and you can even have the software there on your laptop to show them if they have follow-up questions. And if you need internet access, of course, you can use your Android handset or your iPhone and just set up a hotspot. And when you do the one-page write-up on these new products they can consider using, write down the pros and cons and the bottom line of using that product and why it might make sense, right? So just understand whenever you go to an interview that people in business are motivated by three things. They want to make more money, they want to get promoted faster, and they want to enjoy their work, quality of life. So by showing these products, these sample products to them, okay, that you've beta tested, you're kind of helping them to hopefully make more money or get promoted faster because you're helping them do their job in a more efficient way, leveraging new software products. All right. Next up, and I believe that every battle is won before it's been fought. that's a famous quote from Sun Tzu in The Art of War. It's all preemptive. You can win that game before the game starts if you prepare enough. And by creating those templates, which I explained, I guess, in one of my courses, you're preemptively winning the battle before you show up. But make sure to bond before business, okay? And I would go into interviews with 10 or 20 write-ups like that, one-pagers. And depending on what they brought up in the meeting, I would pull out a one-pager. And let me talk actually about my best interview I've ever had. So it was in July of 2004, and it was in Chicago at a very big hedge fund called Citadel. And I got the job, but the guy that headed up and created the equities division there, a guy named Carson Levitt. He and Peter LeBon started the division. I interviewed with both of them. Carson Levitt, I interviewed with. And at the very bottom of my resume, I wrote down my hobbies. Baseball, I wrote down. And so I'm in the meeting with Carson Levitt. And the meeting starts, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know you like baseball." And he loves baseball, right? He loves the San Francisco Giants. So we talked baseball for ages. And then he asked me about Salesforce.com. The ticker was CRM at the time. They just went public. And he grew up, Carson Levitt, in San Francisco with Mark Benioff. Mark Benioff started Salesforce.com, which is the largest employer now in San Francisco. And it was hot IPO in 2004. I participated on the long side and then eventually the short side. I'm not going to go there, but it worked out. So he asked me, what do you think of Salesforce? And that was one of my 20 write-ups I had in my bag, my 21 pagers. It was timely. It was, the talk du jour. And so I brought out that write-up. And after that interview, he said, "This is the best interview I've ever seen." And I say it humbly. It was because I bonded, okay, about baseball. We bonded before business. And I was ready with my one-pagers. And I teach you in much more detail how to create these one-pagers for any type of role in my MBA degree program as well. And I hope you join us. All right. Next up, a question from Daniel. Daniel's saying, "Hey, Chris, hope you're doing well. Likewise." 2 questions. What is your advice in effective communication? And what is the best strategy during a high-stake negotiation? Yeah. So 2 questions there. Yeah. So when it comes to effective communication, just remember that less is more. People don't have the bandwidth today to read long emails, for example, or to read 5,000 word editorials in Vanity Fair. At least I don't have the patience for it anymore. So when it comes to communication in writing, never, ever, 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 ever for the rest of your life, never put more than 3 sentences in one paragraph. Otherwise, it looks overwhelming. And I used to have my own column on the side at Inc. magazine, and that's what my editor taught me. He said, never have more than 3 sentences in one paragraph. He also taught me to only write at an 8th grade level, which is easy for me because that's how I think. He said, you need to, why 8th grade? Because you got to cast your net wide so that it appeals to everybody. He also taught me the importance of titles. And I guess now they call it clickbait or whatever it is. But whenever you have titles for an email, a LinkedIn post, or whatever it is, make it catchy. You can ask a question or put a number in it. 5 reasons why you must write that business plan, that sort of thing. So that's communication in writing. When it comes to other forms of communication, we're much more visual today than we were in the past. That's why Instagram is incredibly successful. And that's why, Facebook bought them in 2011. It's image-based instead of text-based. So try to be as visual as you can. Now, in terms of presentations, never have more than 3 bullet points on a slide because people can't handle more than 3 items on any page anymore. They get overwhelmed. And if you have questions about other forms of communication, let me know. But verbal communication, I'll touch on quickly. Less is more. Keep your answers short and learn transition words. For example, moving on to, in terms of, next up, the bottom line is. okay, from a communications perspective. I've researched communication in so many different ways. I even read a book written by Larry King in the early 90s. Larry King was a great journalist on CNN. And so what Larry King said is, when it comes to eye contact, you want to maintain eye contact, but look away every now and then. Okay. Otherwise, it's intimidating if you just do eye contact the whole time. Also, never look over their head. Okay. It's disrespectful. You can look down which is what I do. It's just my demeanor. So that's eye contact. In terms of body language, you want to be open in a meeting. This is a little bit too casual like this. Just kind of open like this. Never be closed. Okay. And let them kind of run the meetings, so to speak. Yeah. Now, in terms of your follow-up question here, which is, what's the best strategy during a high-stake negotiation? I like to listen. You know, I'm not one of those people that's negotiating and overdoes it like a lot of lawyers do. I like to listen to the terms, and then I like to say, okay, let me get back to you. Okay. I like to really, really think it through. But also, when you're negotiating, and I learned this from Donald Trump, okay? I didn't vote for him. I never would, okay? Although I grew up loving Ronald Reagan, and I was a Republican. As a kid, I was like Alex Keaton in Canada. I came to the States, and yeah, I can vote Republican, and I had to vote Democrat. I have to, because I think with this first, obviously, before this. A little off topic there, sorry. But what Trump did say in his book, The Art of the Deal, that he released in '87, I read it when I was 15, yeah. When Trump Trump can get a deal done, okay? Love him or hate him, okay? I'm being intellectually honest and unemotional. The way he does it, and I'm going to oversimplify things, is let's say that he's negotiating, and this person wants this, okay? And most people would negotiate here. He'll be very extreme, sometimes too extreme, and then they'll meet here. So he's a bit extreme in his views, and you can read his book if you want to, called The Art of the Deal. It's actually a decent book. Okay, just I'm being apolitical here, so that's what I would say. But I would listen more, and don't be afraid to say, let me get back to you on that. And then you wrote here, I'm considering joining your MBA degree program. I'd love to have you join us, Daniel. Thank you. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain, because there's a 30-day 100% money back guarantee. So if you sign up today, and we start December 14th, the 30-day money-back guarantee goes through January 14th. So I should probably not call it 30-day money-back guarantee. It's more than that. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Next up, Loving Literacy. This is Melanie, I think, right? Melanie's a wonderful teacher from Atlanta. And she published a course on Udemy recently, which I signed up for, which is great. And actually, Melanie is joining us in the Gold program starting on December 14th. And so Melanie is writing, hello, Chris. I hope you and your family have a blessed Thanksgiving. Thank you. The same to you. And by the way, Thanksgiving in I live in America, as you all know, but Thanksgiving in Canada is 6 weeks earlier than in America. And the reason is because, I had to look this up, because the harvest. It's colder in Canada. And in Canada, we have Thanksgiving Monday. But America, what they do here, it's fascinating. Thanksgiving is always on a Thursday at the end of November. And it's brilliant because nobody goes to work on Friday, right? And all the retailers said, hey, man, let's have a big sale that day. Let's call it Black Friday. And they call it Black Friday because retail is such a tough business that companies are in the red, meaning they lose money all year long. And then they break even, they go in the black by the fourth week of November. And I hope you have a great Thanksgiving as well. And then you wrote here, what favorite tradition does your family celebrate this time of the year? Yeah. So I'll tell you, in terms of Thanksgiving, my mom makes awesome turkey with great cranberry sauce. I don't know why we use cranberries on turkey. It's the most bizarre thing, but it tastes so good. So my mom is awesome with that. Yeah. Yeah. In terms of other things we celebrate at this point of year, per your question, we get ready for Christmas. And by the way, guys, okay, when I was younger, I was that kid that would sneak around, unwrap the presents, and find out what I was getting. You got to be careful with Amazon. What you can do on Amazon, because your kids might find it, right? So we usually change our password around Christmas time. But what you can also do, in case your spouse looks at Amazon and you have a gift for him or her, you can actually go to orders and archive an order so that they can't see it. So anyway, that's one of the things we do here. Yeah. All right. All right. And next up, Edwin. Hey, Edwin, hope you're doing well. I haven't seen you in a month or two. Last time I saw you, I remember I talked about my son, Dylan's favorite baseball player, Edwin Encarnacion. Yeah. It's a great name. So Edwin wrote here, hello, Chris. I'm a student of your MBA program. Awesome. Thank you. Are there any other requirements before the start date, which is on December 14th? No, nothing. Don't do any preparation at all. Okay. And in terms of homework, you're going to learn everything in class anyway. And each class has a quiz that takes you 5 minutes max to do. It's not that hard. Yeah. No preparation at all. Just show up with an open mind. And I can't wait to introduce you to your classmates. It'll be fun. Yeah. I'm looking forward to meeting you during our one-on-one as well. So I can show you my kid's rookie card of Edwin Encarnacion. 2001 rookie card, I think. Yeah. Okay, and Asui is saying, hey, Chris, hope all is well, likewise. Can you tell us more about your experience with Tom Karadza? Very cool. I'm thinking of taking their course and buying a property here in Ontario. Yeah. So Tom Karadza is a very good friend of mine. And his wife, Carol, is best friends with my wife, Christine. And that's how I know Tom. And we go on vacation together. We went to the Amalfi Coast in Italy a couple of years ago. They're our best friends. They're great. And so I know Tom very, very well. And Tom has had a prophetic impact on my life. I drink Bulletproof Coffee because of Tom. He motivates me a lot. He's my Tony Robbins. He's awesome. He's amazing. He's a brilliant businessman too. Great salesperson. He worked at Oracle years ago in sales in Toronto. He killed it. And then he created his own real estate company called Rockstar Real Estate, which is amazing. And so I think he understands the Canadian real estate market better than anybody on the planet. He's awesome. And I'll vote with my wallet. I actually had him help me to buy a building recently in London, Ontario, which is an hour and a half south of Toronto. As you know, you're from Ontario, you wrote there. And that we're doing really, really well with that investment. Yeah. And we have 5 tenants from the University of Western Ontario students that are paying rent that's more than covering the mortgage. I think he's great. He's amazing. Yeah. Okay. And if you ever meet him, tell him I say hi. Or give him a big post-COVID world hug if you can. Yeah. And then your follow-up here is also, what are your thoughts on real estate investing now that rates are so low? Yeah. So real estate is very, very cyclical. You have to be careful, and you have to realize that you're kind of like a stockholder. You're not a shareholder. You're in it for the long run. And so usually what happens is when interest rates are very high, every asset class outside of debt doesn't do well. So if we go back to the early 1980s, when Volcker, who's the Federal Reserve chairperson at the time, the dude that decides what interest rates are, Volcker, God bless me, passed away. Volcker made interest rates 20%. And because of that, nobody was buying stocks. Nobody was buying real estate. Nobody was doing anything except keep their money in the bank. Because if you can make 20% of your money by buying bonds or keeping your money in the bank, that's a pretty good deal. It's low risk as well. So when interest rates are very high, real estate prices are low. And I usually believe in buying any asset class when everyone else is freaking out. You know, Warren Buffett said, the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. Think about that. Not liking something because it's worth less now. Doesn't make sense. So I would wait to buy whatever property you're looking at I would wait until it feels really uncomfortable for you. I know that's a weird thing to say, but you want to buy when there's blood in the streets. You want to buy when everyone else is freaking out. Everyone else is panicking. Yeah. And just know that real estate, you got to have like a 10 or 20 year horizon for it. The best investment you'll ever make is your own house or your own apartment. You get a lot of tax savings in Canada where you're from with the RRSP, etc. So just make sure you buy when everyone else hates it. Because if you buy an asset class that everybody else loves and everybody owns, who's the incremental investor to push it higher? There's not that many. Last thing I'll say, or second last thing I'll say, is that I love to buy broken stocks, not broken companies. I love to buy when everyone else is freaking out. You got to be a contrarian. Otherwise, you'll never make it big in business. And the final thing I'll say about real estate is there's a scarcity to it, which is why I think land is a great investment, longer term. And my late great-grandfather, God bless him, I miss him, he used to always say to me, Chrissy, buy land. They're not making it anymore. All right. And then a question from Edwin is, what do you think about real estate ventures? You have to give me more details on that in general. If you don't want to tie up your money for decades in illiquid real estate, you can buy what are called REITs, REITs. And they're like stocks. There's tickers for them. And by law, in many countries, for people to be able to sell large pools or investments, which are large pools of money invested in tons of real estate entities, and call them REITs. By law, they have to give away 90% of the profits to investors through dividends. That's why REITs always have high dividend yields. All right. And next up, Power Capital Solutions is saying, Chris, first, I want to say I'm a recent student of your Introduction to Finance course. It's excellent training. I can't thank you enough for creating that awesome course. Thank you. I appreciate that. God bless you. Thanks. Awesome. Thank you. And then you got a question. I'm scrolling down to your question. People in the middle, I'll come back to your question in a second. And then you're saying, when looking for a job while I build my business, would you recommend changing my entire profile to make it seem like I'm looking for a job, or create a new LinkedIn profile specific to a job search? Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. I've been there before, where you're working at a big company, but you're also starting your own company, and you're not sure what to do. Yeah. I don't recommend having 2 LinkedIn profiles. I recommend only having 1. And the best way I can answer that for you is this. Go on a long walk by yourself and write down your goals and your perfect life in 10 years. Okay. Just let it all out. Don't be conservative. Okay. Let it all out. Document those goals. Okay. Then put it in your calendar on your handset, your cell phone, and have it repeat every day forever so you see it. Then what I want you to do is I want you to think about this. My perfect life, career-wise, in 10 years is this. I wrote down my goals. Here's where I am now. How do I fill that gap? Whatever you put on your LinkedIn profile should help you fill that gap, so to speak. And if you have additional questions based on that, please let me know. Looks like you have a follow-up right here. He said, I have most of my clientele based on LinkedIn, like customer reviews, multiple articles written, almost 12,000 followers. Nice. I'm just looking for more work while I build my company. Yeah, 12,000 is pretty good, man. What I would do is this. I would ask for more reviews. Ask people to write reviews for you on LinkedIn, or endorsements, whatever it is. And if you've worked a couple years, I always recommend having at least 10 to 15 different recommendations written up about you by people that you work with or have worked for. I find the most successful people in business quite often, they have 30, 40, 50, whatever it is, write-ups or reviews written about them. Costs you nothing. All right, let me scroll up and go to the questions in between that I missed. And if I missed anybody else, just paste your question again, please. All right, question is from Emily, who's saying, hey, Chris, how are you? I'm great. I hope you're doing well. May I know your thoughts on Ethereum? Do you think it will dominate in the crypto market in the future? Do you think it will be a good hedge against the US dollar depreciation wise? Thanks. Yeah. So I never tell people what cryptocurrencies to buy. I have a course called the Complete Cryptocurrency Course. And I think I made the first 6 hours free on YouTube if you do a search for it. Whatever country you're in, if you search for a cryptocurrency course on YouTube, my name comes up first. My course comes up first, unless somebody advertises something else on top of that. Because it's free for 6 hours. But I'll tell you what 4 cryptocurrencies I own and have owned forever, and I'll never sell. Bitcoin, Ethereum, okay, Litecoin, which is like Bitcoin's little sister, little brother, as well as Ripple. And the founder of Ripple lives around the corner from me here. In terms of Ethereum longer term. So the way it works, and if anybody watching this is kind of new to cryptocurrencies, there's something called blockchain. And blockchain, it's like remember those old books people would write down debits and credits, like accounting stuff? That's called a ledger. Blockchain is kind of like a digital ledger. It keeps track of, transactions that occurred, etc. And so the Bitcoin blockchain will kind of keep track of transactions. Ethereum's blockchain is a bit different. Okay. So Ethereum, the ticker is ETH, and the name of the cryptocurrency for Ethereum is Ether. But Ethereum is more than a crypto. Okay, it's so much more. Because the blockchain within Ethereum is not just to record digital ledger-based transactions, but you can actually use, longer term, that blockchain to store anything that you want to be more secure and readily available for everybody online, like election data, healthcare records, HIPAA compliant, I'm not sure yet. Any contract. Basically, think of anything you use DocuSign for. That can kind of be augmented with Ethereum's blockchain. Yeah. In terms of your follow-up question, which is, do you think it's a good hedge against the US dollar depreciating? I would say in general, the good thing about cryptocurrencies, or some of them, and I think over 90% of cryptocurrencies are a scam. And just be careful. I think a lot of people are going to go to jail for pumping and dumping over YouTube. It's disgusting. Yeah. And so, and let me show you while I walk through that. Okay. The problem with US dollar and paper-based currencies, which people call fiat currencies, is you have no control over how much of that stuff governments can print. And it's not fair, because you work hard to make money, and somebody else, meaning a government, can dilute what it's worth by printing. That's not fair. And that's one of the reasons why cryptocurrencies were invented. But there are so many scammers out there, and I want to show you real time here, okay? So what I'm going to do is, as I mentioned before, I have a course called, it's called the Complete Cryptocurrency Course. And I have a video here on YouTube at 6 hours long. But what I want to do actually is I want to show you the comments that I get for that course, because it's criminal, dude. It is absolutely criminal. So I'm going to go here. I've got nothing to hide. As always, I'm fully transparent. So let me go here to comments, and I'm going to show you what gets flagged by YouTube. Okay. So right here, these are comments anybody can see. Okay. And I have to reply to those. Here's held for review. Watch this. They're all from that cryptocurrency video. Okay. It's endless. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And it's all people, for the most part. And YouTube does a good job of flagging things. I think it could be a little bit better. But a lot of times people will actually scam you, right? Like, for example, this person here, Nappy Valentina. I earned 6 Bitcoins in 24 hours. And then this is the phone number. And then they try to tell you how to whatever. And that's why a lot of these are flagged, right? So a lot of them, at least. Like this person here is giving a phone number, trying to get your money, or whatever it is. So just know, just know that going in, that it is a really, really tough industry. There's a lot of scammers. I think one day it will be regulated by governments, hopefully, so they can crack down on the scammers. Just do your research, please, first. All right. Next up, Karthik is saying, hey, Chris, is it really possible to lead a life or just survive by investing in stocks? If yes, how? How long does it take to do for a person who's not even started investing? Yeah. So what I recommend you do is take a course of mine called the Complete Personal Finance course, or you can join me in my MBA degree program as I go through personal finance in a lot of detail. And the earlier you start, the better. But you got to understand the time value of money process. So little things like if you save $1 a day, every day for years, that leads to millions of dollars in savings in the long run. Yes, millions. Okay, and I teach you all about this in my MBA degree program. I don't think there's any get-rich-quick scheme that works exceptionally well. I think you have to be long-term focused. As Warren Buffett said, the longer the view, the wiser the intention. And so what I would do to start, if you're younger or older, it doesn't matter, is I would max out every year the amount of money your government allows you to save in a retirement savings program so it can grow tax-free. And make sure that money, if you can, is out of sight, out of mind. So you can't see it. You gotta save, and after what's left after saving, then you spend. Instead of spending first and whatever's left over, save. It's a different mentality. But given the time value of money, small little changes in your spending habits today can lead to millions in the long run. I've got a video. I'll show you the link for it. I'm not going to show you the whole thing today. I'll let you guys do it yourself. But I made a very long vlog, which has an Excel spreadsheet for you. So that you can learn a lot about this. Let me go to my YouTube channel, of course, and let me do a search here. Okay, save money. I think it might be in here. Give me 1 second. Yeah. I got tons of ones on saving money. Show all. Oh my God, there's tons of them. You can go to my YouTube channel. I think I'm on day 840 now of vlogging every day in a row, which I'll do forever. But just do a search on ways to save money. And there's one, hold on 1 second. It's almost there. I'll get there in a second. Eesh. And I want to show you the exact link for it. This is going to take me a second, but I promise you it's worth your time, okay? So I wrote how you can make $31 million by doing a couple things that I explain. Let me go here again. 31. It's going to search. Hold on a second. It's killing me. I've got a great way to, saving. Maybe I wrote it under saving money. Hold on a second, guys. I didn't get much sleep last night, as you can clearly tell. Yeah. But if you search my YouTube channel for the word saving money, you'll see just a ton of videos come up that'll help you save a fortune. And I have one in particular that's got a downloadable Excel spreadsheet for you as well. So just search for that. You'll find it. It's killing me. Yeah. So give me 1 second. It's worth your time. All right. 31 days. Yeah. I can't seem to find it right now, and I'm so sorry. So for those of you who want to get a coffee, go ahead and do it. But I'm going to spend a second searching for this. Saving money. All right. You can take my complete personal finance course, which goes in a lot more detail. But I've just got so many YouTube videos up there now, I can't seem to find it. Hold on 1 second. Ways to save money. If you just search for ways to save money, you'll find it here as well. I'm so sorry, guys, for the dead air time, but this is important. Yeah, okay, yeah. Do a search for 14 ways to save money on taxes. Because in there, I teach you 14 unbelievable tips that will save you millions in the long run. I promise you. And it's free. All right. Next question's from Aisawi, who's saying, I'm also trying to decide whether I should go for a PhD in finance here at Rotman, which is University of Toronto. Any advice on how I should make my decision? I'm passionate about a lot of things and overwhelmed with options. Yeah. And then you wrote, thanks for your guidance. As always, Chris, I've been following you for 2 years now. Thank you. I appreciate the support. And I'll answer this in a generic way so it's applicable to everybody. Write down your goals and just kind of figure out where you want to be in 10 years. And then when you work on filling that gap, whatever skill sets you think might be missing, you might be able to get by doing that PhD, for example. But I'd be careful because a PhD in general, when it comes to finance or business, is usually academic. So if you want to remain, if you want to teach, which is a wonderful profession, for the rest of your life, then I would think about getting a PhD in finance. Otherwise, if you want to work in business, I don't know if it's really going to help you very much. Yeah. But maybe find people that also have a PhD from Rotman, University of Toronto in finance, do a search on them on LinkedIn, and just find out where they are in their careers now. Yeah. But I don't think you necessarily need a PhD in finance to be successful. I think a better way to learn about finance is to take the CFA, the Certified Financial Analyst designation, which is 3 exams you write over 3 years during the evenings. Yeah. All right. Next up, Power Capital is saying, when looking for a job, actually, I already read that one, I think. Yeah. All right. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. I'm allowed to have an off day, guys. All right. November's always busy because of Black Friday preparation here. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Edwin is saying, Chris, this is a personal question. How do I spend more time with my family as an entrepreneur? Yeah, it's tough. So what I've done is I've conditioned myself, or at least I have in the past, for when I come home with all jobs. The second I touch the doorknob on the front door, I leave work outside because it's not fair to your family and you can't get that time back. Like I remember years ago when Matthew, my middle child, was like 4 or 5, I get home and he'd run to the front door like a puppy. And he'd say, Daddy, did you have a good day or bad day at work today? And if I said good, he'd say, yay. He'd light up like Tweety Bird. He'd say, can we play baseball together in the backyard? And if I said, oh, it was only okay, he'd go, he'd walk away. Don't bring that home. That's not fair. I'm criticizing myself in hindsight. When you touch that doorknob, your house is a sacred shrine. And it's for you to spend every second with your kids and your family. And I try to take 1 day off a week. It's been tough lately, but I'll take it Sunday off, for example, for religious reasons as well. Other people take other days off per week. And no matter what, spend every second of that day with your family, because work's always going to be there, but your kids aren't always going to be there. And by the time your kid is 12 years old, you've already spent 90% of the time that you're ever going to spend with them. It's sad, but true. You can't get that time back. Okay. Next up is Karthik is saying, why do I need an MBA? Can I not use my technical skills to sell what I produce? Yeah. You don't. I don't think you need a degree to be successful in business or in life at all. But if you want to learn, how to create a great business plan, or how to sell, or how to have the best LinkedIn profile ever, and how to learn other aspects of business that will hopefully make you a lot of money in the long run and more importantly, allow you to follow your passion, then I recommend checking out my MBA degree program. Yeah. And my program is different from others because you get 100% money back guarantee, right? And the cost of the program is literally what the cost is to just attend 2 hours of traditional MBA schools. And the stuff I teach is practical. It's not theoretical. It's stuff you can apply immediately in the real world, unlike the theoretical stuff you'll learn in traditional MBA schools, which is antiquated stuff that was relevant literally last century. Manas is saying, good morning, my dear professor and mentor. I hope all is well. Likewise, I hope you're doing well. And I'm a bit tired today, to be honest, but I got my coffee here. I'm good. All right. I usually try to get 7 to 8 hours sleep a night. I just couldn't sleep last night because I was so excited about this this school I'm building in Rwanda, and we're working hard on this, and I'll give you guys more details another day. All right. And then next up, the Grand Fire Experts wrote here, what's your take on business analytics, on marketing and sales? Yeah. So I love dashboarding. It's something I'm passionate about. It's something I'm actually teaching my students about for next Monday's lesson for the MBA students. I love to use Excel for it. I've used every type of product you can think of over the years: Cognos, Hyperion, Business Objects, Tableau, etc. I'm very familiar with Palantir. Used to be a big investor when it was a private company in that company. I think anytime you can use data and data analytical tools, even if it's something like a pivot table in Excel, anytime you can use it to back up a qualitative thesis, it's worthwhile, because a lot of people in business, a lot of their opinions or business strategies are based on qualitative metrics only. And if you don't have quantitative metrics to back it up, it's an opinion and nothing more. So I think with all business decisions, you have to use qualitative and quantitative frameworks. And I provide you with a ton of business analytical frameworks in my MBA degree program for all my students. Yeah. All right. All right. Next up, Manas is saying, greetings from my side. And it is that course number 3 is out and it's really in demand. Can you please give your humble opinion on the course cover and trailer? It's just your push that does the magic. Yeah. And I see a bunch of messages from you where it looks like it was retracted. So I'm not, whenever you try to send a link here in YouTube for some reason blocks it. So if you want, just spell out the name of the course and I'll do a search and give you my humble thoughts. Thanks. Okay, Fausto is saying, hey, Chris, no question today. Just wishing you a great day and lots of luck with your courses. Thank you, Fausto. I appreciate that. And I'm so sorry, everybody, I'm kind of tired today, and I usually humbly add more value. I'm trying my best. Yeah. Day 114. This is the first time I've done this without getting much sleep, but I'm good to go because I love doing what I'm doing. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so Manas is saying it'd be great if you could put a light on your right side so you can get a greater look on your face. Just a suggestion. No problem. I'll do it right now, actually. So I was trying to do something different today, but I love the feedback. Customer's always right. So there we go. Slightly more. A little bit more. How's that? Just a bit. I'm shining today. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the feedback. All right, next up, Cedar is saying, what do you suggest is a good way to get a mentor at work? Yeah. So what I would do is download this book. It's free. Okay, go to harounventures.com. It's 200 pages on how to network. And what I mention in this, and you can take my courses for more help on networking, whatever, is to do an advanced search on LinkedIn and enter your company name, and then enter in 1 or 2 things that you want to find in common with somebody. Maybe somebody went to the same school as you or is from the same hometown as you. And when you find that person that in your company that's from the same hometown and maybe went to the same school as you, then just send them an email in your company. And in the email, just basically say, hope all is well. I'm also from Mississauga, which is where I'm from in Canada. And I also went to McGill University, which is where I went. and then just write down, please let me know if you have time for a coffee. Thanks a lot. That's it. That's it. And because it's your company, the likelihood of somebody responding is going to be very, very high. Don't say why you want to meet, right? Just keep it generic. And then when you sit down with them, just talk about what you have in common with them, for the first half of the meeting at least. Is that great restaurant still open on Huron-Ontario Street in Mississauga? Or have you seen the new student union building at McGill University? Whatever it is, just bond with them. And then just take it from there. And then ask them to mentor you after you've bonded. People want to help you. All you got to do is ask. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Manas is saying, if you were the only businessman, business person in the 18th century, which business would you have started? Just assume that, please. Yeah. So it was, back then it was right before the 18th century means the 1700s, before the Industrial Revolution really took off. So my thought process then is similar to what I think about now, which is how do you create tools that can help people be much more productive and enhance their lives? So back then it would have been anything industrial based. Yeah. And today it's anything cloud software based. Okay. All right. Next question is Manas, who's saying, my location for my course number 4 is in India. Can you please have a look at this location? Would love your feedback on this one. Is this location good looking like for me? I'm so sorry, I don't understand the question. Just provide a little bit more details. Thanks, buddy. All right. Next up, Steve is saying, Chris, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you. And then you wrote, please, what would you advise for starting affiliate market versus e-commerce if you don't have any money to start? Yeah. So affiliate marketing, for those of you not familiar, basically means marketing somebody else's product. And because it's indirect distribution, you get a cut of it. So for me, for example, for my courses, I have a lot of different platforms around the world that will sell my courses. So my courses are in the New York Post, Mashable, the Financial Post in Canada, many major newspapers. And I make less money on that, but it's money I've never made anyway because somebody else is selling it. That's affiliate marketing. And basically they get a cut of what I sell. So I absolutely love it. And when people approach me, or at least when they used to, I get so many inbounds now, I just don't respond. But when I first got started, people said, can you give me some codes so I can resell your courses? And then they would get a cut of it. So I love it. If you want to get started on affiliate marketing, you can basically do a search on Rakuten, Rakuten, and affiliate marketing. It's a great Japanese company started by a brilliant man I met years ago named Mikitani-san. So I would take a look at that. And when it comes to e-commerce, for general e-commerce platforms, you can take a look at any website creation tool, like Wix or Squarespace, etc. Or you can look at Shopify's website. So Shopify is a great Canadian company based in Ottawa, biggest tech company I think in Canada now. And you can use their products as well to set up e-commerce storefronts. And there's different tiers. And I know you wrote no money to start, but if you get the lowest entry-level product or just do a trial, it'll cost you next to nothing just to get started. Yeah, and hopefully that's helpful. And if you have more specific questions based on that, please let me know, and thank you as always. Okay. All right. And then Steve is saying, when it comes to investing, what would you advise, using Robinhood versus or going through a broker? Yeah. So if you use a broker to invest, don't ever take their advice. Always do your own research. And you can take any of my finance courses to learn more about that, or my MBA degree program. I do like Robinhood because there's really no commission structure. So, and I do prefer you doing your own research. So I prefer any platform where you don't have to pay somebody to give you advice. Yeah. All right. And next up, Manas is saying, by the way, I promised something to you a few months ago. No matter how many courses I make, how many books, I publish everything. Yes, everything 100% free for your Rwanda school project. That's my job towards. Thank you. I appreciate that. God bless you. And he wrote, that's my job towards making education available to everybody. God, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And so we're in the process of building our school in Rwanda. It's been a little bit slower than expected because of COVID. But I've wired a ton of money and we're ready to go. And Vital and I are releasing a French version of my course called An Entire MBA in One Course next week. And 100% of the proceeds are going to be to making the first of many schools in Rwanda and around the world too. Yeah. The second doing what I do becomes just about the money is the day I've got to pack it in and move on. Next up, Pratik is saying, damn, Manas, how did you get so many students in your course? I just saw it. Oh, wow. Nice, dude. And then you wrote, I was shocked to see 8,000 students. Whoa, dude, that's a lot, man. Good for you. That's a hell of a lot of students for a brand new course. You're doing something right, man. All right. Next up question is, hello, Chris. Do you have any book recommendations on leadership? Yeah. There's one called Good to Great, which is decent. But I don't really think there's any great leadership manuscripts out there. I think the best way to learn about business is to read or listen to autobiographies from successful business people and just learn, based on what they've done. Really, really successful people, they help people along their way and they let their cards down at the end of their careers because they want to give back and help others. So listen to every audiobook you can get that Sir Richard Branson has written and just solve for X. X is your business icons. And read biographies or autobiographies from X, your business icons. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then Pratik is saying, please give tips to me, your student. And you got to just give me a little bit more details there, please, on tips on what. Thank you. Okay. All right. And I think maybe you and Manas are having a conversation here, which is cool. Okay. Next up, Manas is saying, you know what, my dear mentor, thank you. You were the first instructor who taught me something online, and being a part of your team changed my life forever. Just love that quote, work smarter and not harder. Yeah. No, thank you. Well, I've made so many mistakes in my life that if I can humbly impart knowledge and help people to be successful by not making the same mistakes I've made, then I've done my job. Thank you. Samina, how are you? Samina is joining us in our Platinum program for the MBA program starting on December 14th. And if you guys want more details, you could just read this text here, because I'm offering a Future of Education Masterclass on the 27th, and there's the website details, etc. Thanks. All right, and Asamina is saying, hey, Chris, I hope all is well. Sorry I was missing in action, but I had to move houses, and for 2 weeks I had no internet access. I'm so excited to study with you starting December. Likewise. And then you wrote here, if all goes well, high chance you can play the sandbox, the first level when we start. Awesome. Oh, this is great. So what Asamina is talking about is she's a video game developer, and she's creating a video game that's going to put Take-Two and Rockstar out of business. But I can't wait to play it. Thank you. And I want the MBA degree program at some point to have some sort of AR 3D element to it. So I've been playing around with a lot of Adobe products, just the basic stuff for 3D modeling, etc. So I'll let you know my vision when we start the program December 14th. Thank you. Okay. And then Manas wrote, ideals become your rivals, but I'll never be 1% close to you. Thanks for being so helpful and generous. And the list goes on and on. Thanks, and God bless you all forever. Thank you. I appreciate that, Manas. And thanks for all the emojis. I like that. It's my favorite emoji. Yeah, thank you. God bless you. Okay, Usama is saying, good day, Chris. Hey, Usama. I can't wait for the course to start, and I'm looking forward to the 27th. Thank you. Yeah, it should be fun. And for those of you not familiar with the 27th, oops, this side here. Here's some details. Yeah, and I use pedals, by the way, to change all the screens. So this is the first time I put text on there. I'm trying something different with kind of light on one side, dark on the other side, so you can read the text. I don't know if I'll do that again, though. Yeah. But you got to take risk and experiment, right? Okay. All right. All right. And Victor is saying, hey, Chris, I hope you're well. What is your father's business? Yeah. So my dad, who's my biggest idol and my biggest mentor in business. So his story, it's a really interesting story, actually. So he immigrated from Egypt in 1967. And there was this crazy war going on in 1967. And I think his story is he bribed an army officer to fail his eye physical because he didn't want to fight that stupid war against Israel. And what he did was he immigrated to Canada in 1967. He had nothing. And he told me at one point, and I was born in London, Ontario, and he was working at a hospital then. And he was cleaning test tubes, trying to support the family. And there were nurses and people that were making fun of his accent. And it was hurtful. And so, that frustration led him to, and he went to medical school and everything. And instead of taking a job at the hospital, he said, screw it, I'm going to do it my way. And he started the most successful medical practice in Canada. He's a radiologist. He also does, which means he fixes radios. Sorry. And my brother's a radiologist too. But he does ultrasound, mammography, sports medicine, a lot of stuff. He has 30 offices, hundreds and hundreds of employees. And actually, he sold it recently. Yeah. So he sold it right before COVID started, thank goodness. And he's done well. So he's spending time at home. Yeah. So my mama, my dad, they live in Canada, except in the winters. They're snowbirds. They live in Florida. Yeah. All right. But the name of his company was GAM X-Ray, which he sold. Yeah. My brother works for that company too. He's great. All right. Next up, Suraj is saying, I just want to say hello and namaste. Thank you. Likewise. Thanks for your genuine course content. You've proved that ask if you really want anything. Thanks a lot. Best wishes from Nepal. Thank you. Thank you. And Suraj, I think you're joining us in the platinum version of our MBA program. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Next up, we've got 737 Fly Boy is saying, hi, Professor. Can you add a business proposal template to the business plan course? Thanks. Yeah. So I have something that's a little bit more elaborate than that. That's in my MBA degree program. And let me actually show it to you. It's something I'm working on right now. So you can sign up for the MBA degree program if you want to learn more about this. But let me actually go and get it. It's in Excel. So I got to open it up here and I'll show you. Whoops. Yeah. It's a very detailed dashboard that you can use to analyze any company, etc. So let me go and get it here. It's work in progress, but I'm a nerd and I want to show you. It's on another monitor. So give me a second to bring it over here. I got lots of monitors here. All right, here we go. Yeah, right here. So here's what it looks like. So basically, it's 100 steps, and it will help you understand and do investment research on any company. Okay, and there's a dashboard here as well, and the outputs are also an executive summary and a detailed research report. So, yeah, no, it's very, very in depth. There's 100 different steps, and so what you see at the top there are all the qualitative steps for analyzing a company. Then here's all the quantitative steps. And then here is the financial reports here. I'm probably covering that a bit with my face. Sorry about that. But this is something I'm working on now, which my students are going to love. It's work in progress. So this is something I'm going to unveil to them on Monday. But it's got everything you can possibly think about when you analyze a company, and I mean everything. Yeah. So it's fun. It's fun. So this here would probably help out with what you're talking about is as well. Yeah. So let me shut this down here. Okay. But I provide my students with just a ton of tools during the MBA degree program. It's a one-stop shop. It's all you need to be successful in any aspect of business or your money back. Okay. Yeah, and Esamina is talking about her computer. She's a gamer. She's awesome. And by the way, I did order the PS5. I've got it. It's coming in on December 6th. The day that I'm actually, the day after graduation for my first year gold and platinum students. I don't want to get it until then because I'll nerd out. But I can't wait to play it. And it's actually, it is like a gaming PC. I think they've done it. It's quiet as well. The user interface is new, unlike the Xbox, which is this boring box, the new Xbox Series X, with the same old user environment. And the key selling proposition for the Xbox is, hey, you can play older games on here. That doesn't cut it for me. There's no great launch titles. The Spider-Man title for PS5 is off the charts, dude. Oh my God. It's incredible. It's incredible. So that's why I bought it, for that launch title. For my kids. And of course, I ordered Call of Duty as well, and a new NBA 2K game, which looks almost lifelike. And Asmina wrote, I have an 8-core AMD processor at 4.2 gigahertz for 6 years already, and it's amazing still. Yeah, incredible. And I'm backing it with an NVIDIA 8 gigabyte and 32 gigabyte RAM. Very cool. It's my little monster. I love it. Yeah, and it's so fascinating how you didn't even mention Intel there. It just shows you how Intel, and you're very forward thinking. You're a rock star developer too. It's amazing how Intel's become irrelevant to most generations, or many generations. Yeah, like when I was younger, whenever I bought a computer, I would always say, "Oh, great, it's powered by Intel inside." It doesn't matter anymore. You know, AMD is amazing. Finally, they give them a run for their money. NVIDIA's market cap is greater than Intel's. And with devices like these, you know, companies like Apple are becoming vertically integrated, you know, with their own chipsets, etc. Yeah. And then Alan is saying, hi, Chris. I hope you and your family are in good health. Thank you. Everyone is healthy here. I'm a little bit tired today, but I'm good to go. I love doing what I'm doing. And if this was my day off, I'd be doing this. So every day is a day off for me. And Alan's question is, do you think it is still worth investing my time learning search engine optimization? Will Google still be as powerful next year as it is now? Yeah, I definitely think it's always worthwhile to do so. The issue, and for those of you not familiar with SEO or search engine optimization, it's trying to figure out how big platforms think so you can sell more stuff or get more clicks, etc. And what happens is every now and then Facebook, Google, YouTube, etc. They change their algorithm and the way the SEO works, and it puts people out of business. And so it's incredibly important to be aware of how these search engines work, if you can. And a lot of it is a black box. It's a mystery. But you have to think like a computer and think like a search engine. And think like the competition as well, and think like social media platforms if you want to excel. Yeah. And then will Google still be as powerful next year as it is now? I think so. But so Google, I think the government's going to break up Google, and Google understands that. And I think that's one of the reasons why they rebranded themselves as Alphabet, because Google owns the two biggest search engines in the world, Google and YouTube. And they're just too powerful. But I think the fact that they're a good corporate citizen relative to other companies, like I think Google is ethical and Facebook is not ethical. That's why a lot of government agencies have, one of the reasons they've gone after Facebook. Facebook's been very, very unethical. Yeah. And I think if it weren't for COVID, I think that antitrust would have been much further down the path of breaking up Google this year and Amazon. But I think that given COVID, that Amazon has been, they're kind of been giving a hall pass because delivery. It's obviously been much more important for all of us to stop the spread of COVID by ordering more stuff at home. And so I think that the Trump administration has kind of not gone after Bezos as much as they wanted to. And of course, you heard all the saber rattling between directed towards Bezos from Trump. He pulled back, obviously, doing that because of COVID. And I think Bezos is a good guy. I do. But I think Amazon, just like Google, is too powerful and it has to be broken up. And the role of government is to level the playing field so that other companies can compete, because competition is good for the consumer from a pricing and innovation perspective. If there's only one telecommunications company out there, like there kind of was with AT&T up until the 1980s, then prices are too high and innovation dies. And so the government split up AT&T into a lot of different companies in the 80s. And I think they're going to do the same thing to Google. Google is going to be two different companies at a minimum. There will be Google and YouTube. Amazon will be two different companies as well. One will be the Amazon Retail, the service we use to order stuff. And the other one will be Amazon Digital Products, like Amazon Web Services, Alexa, Kindle, Prime Video, etc. And I think that Apple understands the writings on the wall too. They've been bullying anybody that makes apps. It's not fair that Apple, created their own arcade and they're pushing it on us with a free trial or their own media. It's not fair. What about innovation? And innovation has died on this thing. I have not seen an awesome new app for ages. I remember when this thing first came out in 2007, every week I would download a new game. Field Runners 1, Field Runners 2, Where's My Water, Angry Birds, whatever it is. Innovation has died. So I think the government needs to break up Apple into a couple different companies as well. Because it's not fair they can police the platform and muscle out of the way companies like Epic with Fortnite, etc. Yeah. All right. All right, hold on a second. Go to the next question. All right, next, Maria is saying, hi, Chris. Hey, I'm 19 years old, and I'm graduating from a bachelor in management. All right, that's a young age to be graduating. Congratulations. And I feel I'm a bit lost, as this degree, it's quite general, and I lack specialization. I'm thinking of getting into data science, but I feel insecure about it, that everyone thinks that I'm not made for this. Should I take a gap year and rethink this? Yeah. Well, a couple of things, Maria. And congratulations for graduating at such a young age. Other people's opinion of you doesn't have to become your reality. And that's a great quote from Les Brown. Someone else's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And I want you to tell yourself at a young age, I don't give a damn what people think of me. And I was more insecure than you are in my teens and 20s and 30s even. And I have this chart that changed my life. And let me show you the chart here on the back of this book. And I spilled coffee on this a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you guys remember that. I spilled coffee twice that day. Once this way, and then I texted Christine, my wonderful wife, who's busy. I said, please, can you make me a cup of coffee? Right? First time I ever asked. And she brought it here. And then I spilled it again. And so I now use a sippy cup for my coffee so I don't spill it. That's why there's coffee here. But I will show you a chart on the back of this coffee stain book. All right. So this chart will change your life. So on the x-axis, Maria, is your age, okay? And on the y-axis is give a darn. Okay. When you're younger, you're right here. Like my kids, you don't give a darn what people think of you. You just don't care. And when you're older, you don't care either. Old people don't have confidence problems. They don't care. The problem is when you're younger, you're here, okay? This is when you care what people think of you. And I call that the triangle despair. And I want you to eliminate that from your life. Gone. And I want you to live at this level forever, because the best entrepreneurs do. They don't care what people think of them. And that's why they're successful. They don't care. And they failed a bunch of times before they became successful. They don't care. They don't care about other people's expectations of them. They don't care what other people think of them. And Eleanor Roosevelt, who has a wonderful quote, she said, they're going to criticize you anyway, so you might as well just do it. And Dr. Seuss said, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. So I want you to live at that low level and tell yourself, I don't care what anybody thinks of me. And I'm not saying be rude or disingenuous. I'm just saying live your life in your own terms and march to the beat of your own drum. And do what makes you happy. And don't try to do things to seek approval from anybody else. Otherwise, in your mind, you'll always be their prisoner. It's not a happy place to be. And so, in terms of data science and your question, you don't need to get a degree to be successful in business or in technology. All you have to do is take courses online. And so if you want to learn about data science, there's a brilliant man named Kirill. He's awesome. Good guy, too. And he teaches on Udemy about data science. So let me do a search here. Let me go incognito. And I will search Udemy. Kirill. 2 R's. Here we go. Yeah, right here. Sorry, there's 2 L's. So Kirill is great. And he teaches machine learning, data science through Tableau, which is more graphical. Tableau, the ticker used to be Data, D-A-T-A, which was the coolest ticker ever. And I know the CEO, Christian Chabot, brilliant man. I met him before the company went public. Morgan Stanley's bankers brought him to meet with me to get feedback before the IPO. But he teaches about that as well. So take Kirill's courses, okay? They're really thorough, really professional, way better than any course I'll make. And this will teach you about data science. And it's fun, too. Yeah. So that's what I recommend. Yeah. But you can learn programming on the side from taking online courses from scratch, from people that have done it, right? It's not theoretical like university is. This is practical stuff, and I think you'll enjoy it. But I don't think you have to take a gap year. I think you can just take courses on the side. Yeah. All right. Pratik is saying, thank you for your suggestion. You're talking to Asmin here. Yeah, cool. The only thing I'll ask is, when you guys have conversations with each other, which I love, please, engagement's awesome. Just do an @ symbol at the beginning to each other, just so I know not to read it. But keep doing this, please. Thank you. Okay. Next up, Saif is saying, hey, Chris, thank you so much for the weekly webcasts. They really mean a lot. Greetings from Egypt. I hope you're doing well. My dad actually is from Sohag, which, as you know, is a couple hours south of Cairo. And it's population a couple 100,000 people. Yeah. And while you guys can still, if you have a parent from a country that you've never visited, what I want you to do, and I did this with my dad, I want you to go sit down with your older relatives and open up Google Earth and do a screen recording as well and have them walk through where they grew up. Like my dad, he said, here's where I used to go to get a loaf of bread, sorry. He says it better than I do. Here's the Coptic church he went to, that sort of thing. Here's where he went to school. Have them walk around and just show you using Google Earth, everything. And just document it. Yeah. All right. All right. Hold on a second. Manas is saying, my dear mentor, you're right. I was not looking great in the video with Vital. we're afraid something this time. Oh, you mean the tick thing? Yeah. I'll be okay. Don't worry. Thank you though. Thank you for that. All right. All right. Next up, Isoe is saying, "Hello, Chris. Hope all is well. Can you tell us more about Tom Karadza?" Oh yeah, and I answered that one earlier today. If you weren't happy with my response, then just let me know, please. Thank you. All right. Next up. Oh, Michael. Michael's saying, "Good morning from Sonoma County, Chris. Good morning to you too, buddy. I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to thank you for being such a sincere, authentic, and heartfelt example for us all. Having your level of compassion and competence are rare. Thank you. I appreciate that." And then you wrote, "We're all better for knowing you. God bless you and your family." Thank you. And God bless you a billion times more, brother. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope everything's okay for you up there in Sonoma. The air quality is getting better where I live now. What's the air quality like?
The air quality is good at 28 right now.
Okay. And by the way, 28 is good. It was over 100 a couple weeks ago. It was brutal because of all the fires. And I know it was worse for you. And God bless you and your family. And I think everything is getting better up there fire-wise in Sonoma. By the way, if you use Siri, you have to change to an Australian voice. Either use the Australian guy or gal. The reason is because when Australians speak, if you close your eyes and listen, it sounds like they're smiling. It's true. Watch. What's the air quality like right now?
The air quality is good at 28 right now.
Dude, she's smiling. I know she's smiling. Thank you. Next up, we got the Aquahood. How are you? The Aquahood is saying, "Hi, Chris. Hi to all." So a little bit about the Aquahood. It's been a while, buddy. I hope you're doing well. He's from the United Kingdom. His name is Michael. And he grew up with Sacha Baron Cohen. And a year or two ago on this webcast, I asked him, what was Sacha Baron Cohen like growing up with him? And he said that Sacha Baron Cohen's mother would have to come over to his house every now and then, Michael's house, and very sweetly ask for Sacha Cohen's toys back. Because Sacha Baron Cohen was so generous from a very, very young age. He used to give all his toys away to everybody, which is a beautiful thing. And for those of you that haven't seen the interview with Sacha Baron Cohen about the Internet 6, please do a search. Shut me down right now and go watch that video because he is an eloquent speaker. And I think a lot of what Sacha Cohen does, it is comedy, but I don't think he sees it that way. I think the way he sees it is he's trying to show us through comedy how backwards many people are in terms of stereotyping in their thought process. And he's starting to do more serious movies as well. So like if you guys have Netflix, you got to watch this. Oh my God, it's the best series. It's called The Spy. And it's 5 or 6 episodes on Netflix. And Sacha Cohen's in it. And it's a serious documentary kind of, right? He acts though. And it's about a real story. This is amazing. How somebody from the Mossad, which is the Israel's version of the CIA, they sent somebody from the Mossad, an Israeli, to be a spy in Syria in the 1960s. And this spy became the Minister of Defense in Syria. And his accent was interesting. He grew up in Egypt, the real spy in real life. So his accent was a little bit different from an Arabic perspective. But it's a real story, so check it out. It's fascinating. Fascinating. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then give me 1 second, guys, here. Sorry. All right. Next up, Fred is saying, "Hey, Chris." Hey, Fred. Hope you're doing well, man. Shaman is saying, recently, 101 Crucial Lessons and the entire MBA 1 book have been posted in PDF Drive. Did you notice that? They're providing the PDF file totally free. Did you allow them? No, I did not. I did not. But I've got it copyrighted, trademarked, and all that stuff. So if it becomes a big issue, I'll send an army of lawyers out to them. Yeah, I don't know who they are, but it is what it is. Yeah, if I can help somebody by somebody reading my book for free, I'm happy with that. Yeah. Thank you for telling me that. And by the way, it's so hard to stop piracy. It's like putting your hand in a river and telling yourself, I'm going to stop all minnows from swimming. They'll go through your fingers. You just can't do it. You can't do it. Yeah. If something materially impacts revenue and I can't pay the bills and my staff, then of course I'll seek legal action, but that's okay. All right. Next up, Maria is saying, thanks, Chris. They are a digital production, the company you're interviewing with. They're a digital production company, so not really video game, but they do interesting work. Excellent. And best of luck with the interview, and just enjoy it. Okay? Just enjoy. And don't forget to follow up the same day. If you can't answer a question in the interview, just tell them, I'm so sorry, I don't know, but I'll find out. And then you write down during the interview. And that night, that afternoon, before they submit what they thought of you internally on their system, send them a thank you email. The subject line should say thank you. The content should be something like this, if true. John, many thanks for the meeting today. I enjoyed our conversation, period. In terms of your question on X, which I couldn't answer, I did some research, and here are my humble thoughts, and just provide your thoughts. Thanks again, Maria. And of course, connect with them on LinkedIn that day as well, right? Because your network is your net worth. All right, next up, Steve is saying, I love to write blogging on personal finance and travel. Please, how can one consistently turn out quality content nonstop? Yeah. So what I would say is take my, I have a course called the Complete YouTube Course. You can go to my website and find it there, or just search the web. And I taught it with Sasha Stevenson, who's one of my students I met on week number 10 of this webcast. We're on week 114 now, yeah. And she's an internet sensation in Indonesia. She has over 100 million YouTube views. And that will teach you how to vlog, which is the basis for blogging as well. In terms of how to write, just do a search on how to write on my YouTube page. And I published a 15-minute video years ago, which is greatest hits based on what my editor at Inc. magazine, when I had my column years ago, greatest hits based on what my editor told me from a writing perspective. Yeah. But you got to be consistent. And for me, I'm consistently bad, but I am consistent, humbly. I release a vlog every day at 9 a.m. and I've done so for 840 days in a row now, and I'll do it forever. But however often you release your vlog, just be consistent. If it's every Tuesday at 7 a.m., then do it every Tuesday at 7 a.m. so that your viewers are expecting it, that sort of thing. Yeah. And for more details on social media in general, and my dad told me growing up, only take advice from successful people. So instead of taking advice from me, we're going to go and look at this successful person named Gary V. Gary Vaynerchuk's his name. And he rubs people the wrong way sometimes, but once you get to know him, you love him because he's very transparent. He's honest. And so just find Gary V's website, go to the bottom, okay? And then I'm going to remove my face here so I can show you what I want to show you, okay? But once you go to the bottom here, these are the social media platforms in order that you should focus on, okay? So first is Instagram, then YouTube, Facebook, which is tough for me to do just for ethical reasons, Snapchat, Twitter, Snapchat, LinkedIn, and podcast. Okay. He doesn't have method there. He used to have it. He took it away, just like I did. It's not relevant anymore. And what you can also do is, and let me just go and put my face back here. What you can also do is you can read through what's called 87 pages of insanity. Hey, give me 1 second. I want to show it to you. It's worth your time. Okay. All right. Hold on a second. He used to have it on the homepage. Did you get rid of it? Oh, here it is here. 86 pages of insanity. Sorry. And this here, it's just 86 slides. Okay. And it's how to create content and how to repurpose it. He talks about the content pyramid, which basically means create content in one place, which is what I do. I create content on this weekly Q&A thing. And then I repurpose it throughout the week as vlogs, as well as little videos on Instagram, etc. Okay. So he talks about this as well, and micro content and how to distribute it. So check this out as well, please. And you always want to think about repurposing content. It's just a smart way to run your company and your social media platforms. And YouTube is the only gold rush in history where it costs you nothing to make the product. And YouTube is also the only gold rush in history where you can get immediate access to billions of potential customers right away for free. So I want you to start vlogging. And think about Nintendo. So Nintendo's been repurposing content for decades now. And they're over 130 years old. This company is amazing, but embedded within the DNA subfabric of this company is their love for repurposing content. And so their older games, the 8-bit and 16-bit games from the 80s, and the 64-bit game from the 90s, and the GameCube games from '02, and the Wii and Wii U games, whatever, they keep repurposing them, and they keep re-releasing them. That content. It's a very profitable business model as well. So I would take a page from Gary Vee and Nintendo's playbook and just keep repurposing your content. Maybe what you can do is you can write a book, okay? And I'll give you the template for all my books for free now. I don't ask for an email address or anything. But write a book, and I'll give you my template. So go to harounventures.com / all lowercase, write book. Like that. See there? Okay. And then what you do here is you download my book template. And it's in Microsoft Word. If you know how to use Microsoft Word in a browser, you can write a book. And it's got 1 page of instructions on the first page. It's all free. So I tell you how to publish to Kindle, Amazon Paper, as well as Audible, acx.com. And this here is the template. You write this in Microsoft Word, and a ton of my students have done this, and I bought all their books and profiled them here on the air. And once you finish writing the book, you right-click in Word and update your table of contents to repaginate, whatever you call that. And then you publish the book. You self-publish. It's free. And then what you can do is you can actually gut the book. Meaning what you can do is you can take 1 chapter per week from your book and post it onto LinkedIn and make a vlog out of it as well. So if it's 100 chapters, there you go. You've got 2 years worth of content if you publish once a week. Yeah. All right. Get a little bit of breakfast here. But just be consistent and know that your earlier stuff is not going to be perfect. But that's okay. If you look at the Beatles, and I should never put myself in the same camp as the Beatles, it's moronic. But if you look at the Beatles' earlier records in the earlier 60s, there wasn't that much depth to them, or breadth. They were amazing songs, but they were in mono, etc. And then by the late 60s, by Abbey Road, and then 1967 with Sgt. Pepper, their masterpiece, the quality is much, much better. And that's what's going to happen with your content as well. If you look back in the earlier stuff, it won't be perfect. But you know what, dude? As Salvador Dali said, if you strive for perfection, you'll never reach it. Just be consistent. Okay. Next up, Asamina, who's joining me in my platinum program, my MBA program on December 14th, is saying, Chris, never play Resident Evil or Until Dawn if you can't. Yeah, totally. And Asamina, a video game expert, who's got this unbelievable game she's making now. So earlier on, I mentioned I'm playing The Last of Us Part 2, but I have to play with the lights on because it scares the hell out of me. And that's why you're saying don't play Resident Evil. Yeah. I don't like scary movies, but I like everything that Naughty Dog Studio makes, meaning the Uncharted franchise, because there's great character development in The Last of Us, which is a masterpiece. Yeah. All right. And Shamina's saying, how old are you, Chris? Can you tell us your exact birthday and year? We need to know that to understand the transformation of your career. You've made the impossible things possible. Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you. So I'm 48. I'm a 48-year-old man-child. in terms of my birthday, it was February 2nd every year. And I was born in 1972 in London, Ontario. Yeah. And my three sons have a little brother in me now. Actually, it's so much fun having kids because they do the things you did when you were younger, and you get to be a kid again. It makes you young at heart. And so my youngest one in particular is really into Mario games. And every now and then he'll say, "Daddy, can you help me with this level on Super Mario Galaxy?" And I'll say, "Oh, fine." Twist my arm. Ow. It's fun. All right. Dario is saying, "Thank you, Chris. You're most welcome, buddy." And Maria is saying the interview is through Google Hangouts. I'll try to. Okay, yeah. So Maria, for your interview, if you don't have a perfect setup at home right now, what you can do, if you want, I'm offering this just to you right now. Let me know, and I'll open up Zoom for you, and we'll do a Zoom call, and I'll look at your setup, and I'll humbly offer my advice on how to optimize the lighting, etc. Not that my lighting is great today. I'm trying something new. I don't know if it's cool. The reason why I'm doing it this way today is because I wanted to, I wanted to basically experiment with writing on the side like this, which I don't know if I'll do this again, but I'm trying something new. If you don't push the goalposts out and experiment, you'll never be successful. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Richard is saying, "Hi, Chris. Really liked your project Magu. Thank you. Vital has been amazing to partner with, and I think it's awesome. Would it be possible for you to do a small video on LinkedIn? I'd really like to spread the word and send it out to my contacts. I will. Thank you. I actually just got that video from Patrick Heffernan, my amazing friend at Udemy. So I'll do it eventually. What I'll do is this: once the course is published, which hopefully is going to be by this Sunday or Monday, I'll send a video out to raise awareness as well. And of course, all the profits, 100% of the profits, will go directly to building the first of many schools we have in Rwanda. Yeah. All right. And then next up, Loving Literacy is saying, yes, 3 sentences in 1 paragraph. I'll keep that in mind. Sometimes I want to lay all the information out. Yeah, no, definitely. Never have more than 3 sentences in 1 paragraph when you write ever again, because people just can't deal. Yeah. And Udaya is saying, "Oh no, you skipped my questions. If I've skipped any question, just paste it again, please." So yeah. Okay. Oh, it is Melody. Hey, Melody, how are you? Melody is Loving Literacy. And she's saying, "I'm so excited to join." She's joining the Gold program for the MBA program starting on the 14th of December. And she's asking, I should have asked when you're celebrating Thanksgiving. Oh, you asked earlier. That's right. 'Cause I'm Canadian, but we do American Thanksgiving here as well. Yeah. We get 2 of them. And then Melody is saying, "My kids used to search for the gifts in the house, or search Amazon, yeah. So yeah, and again, what you can do is you can go to Amazon to your orders and just archive the orders, so nobody click orders and then archive, so your kids can't see it, or change the password, which is what I've done. Yeah. Oh, and Asamina wrote, "Chris, I have the Christmas cookies your mother-in-law makes. Awesome. Asamina is Greek, and my wife is her mother is Greek, and they make these special cookies every year. And Christine's mom, who's awesome, she and by the way, tzatziki tastes good on everything, but she'll make these cookies where she'll use a fork around them, and that's supposed to be the crown of Jesus, and it's every Christmas, and they're wonderful cookies. My yaya is great, or my kid's yaya, I should say. Yeah. And Christine's mom's maiden name was the password for my American Express account. Not anymore, but it was. And it was brutal, because when I had an issue with my Amex, my Amex card, Amex would ask me, "What's your password?" And I'd say, "Triandafilides." And then they say, can you spell that? And I was like, oh my God, seriously? And triantafilides, as you know, means 30 flowers in Greek. It's a nice name. All right. Next up, Juan Pablo. Hey, Juan, how are you, man? Is saying, what is your prediction for the end of the year for Bitcoin as an asset? And do you think FedCoin could be created and the government or developers could create and transfer crypto money directly to people? Yeah. So in terms of Bitcoin prices, I don't predict in the near term. I've owned Bitcoin for years. I'm never selling it, ever. Because there's only 21 million coins that will ever be created by the year 2140. So there's a limit on supply, unlike with traditional paper-based currency. In terms of other cryptocurrencies, I usually don't comment in general. But what I will say is that traditional paper-based currency has never had competition until recently. And competition is good for the consumer. And so I think that future currencies from governments are going to have a crypto element to them, which will make them more secure as well. Yeah. And the reason the Roman Empire went belly up was because they printed too many coins. And I actually, I went to Israel. I went to Jerusalem a couple of years ago with my family. Summer of 2017, great trip. And when I was in Jerusalem, I bought a coin from the year 30 AD. And it's got like Pontius Pilate on one side of it. And you might be thinking, oh my God, Chris, that must cost a fortune. It costs next to nothing. Why? Because they made so many darn coins back then. So traditional currency is the worst investment you can possibly make. But it was a cool souvenir. All right. Next up, Juan Pablo is saying, by the way, your cryptocurrencies course is so comprehensive. And that Excel document is state of the art, mi amigo. Thank you. I appreciate that. I had a lot of fun making it. Yeah. And it's interesting because when I started making that course, I was positive on cryptocurrencies, like 7 out of 10 positive. And by the end, I was like 3 out of 10. And I was like, most of these things are scams. You know, there's a handful of them that are great. But it really bothers me how a lot of people create YouTube videos to pump and dump. You know, it's unethical. You know, they'll get people to buy some crypto they own. And then they'll say the next week awful things about it so everybody sells. And then they'll buy it back, rinse, lather, repeat. So, yeah. But I love providing my students humbly with tools so that they can actually do their own research. You know, I don't like to give a fish. I like to teach you how to fish humbly if I can. Yeah. All right. And then Melody, who's a wonderful teacher from Atlanta, is saying, I can't wait to share with you my new side hustle. I can't wait to hear about it. Yeah. And so you're in my MBA degree program too, so I'll be able to help you out a lot with it humbly if I can. Yeah. And then Dario saying, I just read about Amazon Pharmacy, OMG. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but did they buy drugstore.com years ago? I can't remember. They might have. Yeah. But if it's disruptive, oh, actually, no, I have seen it. It's a way to get your prescriptions all customized and sent to you. So if you have 5 different prescriptions, they'll consolidate all that and then just send you 1 bottle every month or whatever it is with your prescriptions, which is pretty cool. Smart. Yeah. All right. Next up, Safe is saying, hey, Chris, hey, man, how do you increase your net worth by 30? Oh, thank you. You found the name. Thank you so much for your patience. Yeah. So for everybody on this call, there's a video I was searching for earlier, and this is a rare occasion where I didn't get much sleep, but I promise you this will change your life. So it's called, do a search on this, please. How to increase your net worth. One of those days, guys, I know. How to increase your net worth. It's a couple minutes long. And what I'm going to do is, I think it's a worthwhile exercise for me to show this to you. Okay, so give me 1 second. I'm going to take my face off here. I promise you this will be very, very value added for you. So check this out, please. Hold on 1 second. Thanks. All right. Give me a second, guys.
There used to be a time when you and I heard the word net worth, all we ever thought about is a dollar sign. Because we link net worth.
All right. Give me one second, guys. All right. Thanks for your patience while I took that little break there. Yeah. But it does help, I promise you. That video. Download the spreadsheet as well, and you'll see how tiny changes in your net worth or in your daily spending habits can save you a fortune. And the real story behind that video was I have to vlog every day. I told myself that forever. And I had laryngitis. That was like a year and a half ago. So I made a couple vlogs that week with no talking. And that's why it was all just audio. Yeah. All right. Thanks for your patience. All right. And give me 1 second, guys. Thanks. Thanks, everybody, for your patience with me today. One of those days where I didn't get any sleep, but the show must go on, right? Okay. All right, hold on 1 second. All right, and Safe, thank you so much for posting the name of that video. I appreciate it. All right. All right. And then Maria is saying, I have to go, everyone. I need to get rest for tomorrow. Thanks a million for the tips, Chris. My pleasure. I'll keep them in mind for tomorrow. And I wish you all well. God bless you. And don't worry, Maria, please, because God already knows what's going to happen, and that should give you peace of mind. Yeah. And that's my alarm to wrap up the call. So let me go through really quickly any last minute questions here. And I've got to jump because I've actually got my for MBA students only office hours. Then I've got a bunch of one-on-ones with my MBA students as well. So gosh, there's a ton more questions here. All right, guys. So if I didn't answer your question, I apologize. Just copy your questions and then ask me next week. I'll see you next Thursday and every Thursday at 8 a.m. If you have a chance, please check out my my future of education masterclass coming up on the 27th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Here are the details here. You can register at harounmba.com/masterclass. Within 24 hours of this call being completed, what my team does is they take all the questions and they put them in the description field, so that you can go and click to get immediate access to all questions answered. Okay, and God bless you all. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next Thursday and every Thursday. And thank you.